like all like the other guys, you're like, that's why with social media, younger people right now, a lot of them are just, they get on steroids so young because you're seeing all these people Photoshop things or they look huge and they're like, oh, I've never taken any drugs. And you train for 8-10 years and you're seeing very minimal progress. And then you look at these guys and they're like, oh, 1 year transformation. And they're just like 30 pounds heavier. Yeah, I never took bullshit.
The guy that just added me, he's like at home workouts and he's way bigger. He's bigger than Seth. And he's got all these pictures of steroids and shit.
Seth looks like an action figure, dude. Like, he looks like if you bought, like, a superhero action figure. That's what
one
Seth
of them
looks
wrestlers or whatever, like
the Hulk.
WWE wrestler, like doll, like
yeah,
action figure.
I used to have, well, I still do. They're in my basement. They're like big Hulk figures. There's like one of them, and then I have big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ones. The Hulk one looks exactly like Seth, like just fucking.
I always show him. I'm like Ben's like, I really like doing leg days. I'm like, I fucking hate doing legs. You ever see Seth's legs?
Yeah.
He's like, no. I'm like, look at this picture, dude.
Oh my god, his calves are like as big as my head.
Yeah, have you seen? He does he's one of his videos is like cardio and abs or whatever, and like that's what he attributes his calves to is the stair stepper. He gets out of his pickup truck to walk into the gym and he's like, calves a day, motherfucker. You look at his calves and they're just like, you're like, what the?
He's got like a tricep V on his calf.
Oh, they're giant. And his quads. I don't know how tons of drugs, but like his work ethic to do that. Because you look at other people, they don't have that size, like separation and shit that he gets.
What's he mean when he says he has rice sandwiches, like rice peanut butter jelly sandwich?
Rice cakes. You ever have a rice cake?
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of them, and then he puts like peanut butter jelly
instead of bread.
That's his snacks, yeah.
Into the mic.
I used to eat a ton.
Don't forget about that.
I can turn your thing up otherwise, the sensitivity. You can try it. Like 3. Oh. There, it should be a little bit. Should be better. Maybe. So that hole that Kyle's cutting, it's not just weeds, it's millet from the year before that he planted. It must have spread, so he said there's tons of big duck in there.
Right behind his house?
Yeah.
There's water underneath it?
Oh, yeah. He said I'm like, we drive the forward, there's at least 14 inches of water in here. I'm like, that's all right. He's like, I don't think we should touch it till regular season. I'm like, get that hole open, dude. There'll be teal there in the morning for sure. Yeah. I kind of want to just go. It's so close. And
you guys are going there tomorrow?
We're thinking about it. I should just I think we should hunt it in the morning and cut it open after.
I don't know. Bubba said they seen a ton today, but they didn't even brush in. They just sat in their boat. I think they got 3. But he said seen a ton flying around.
Yeah, he said that on the other side of the lake there was like 80 shots. Like, ooh. So you're probably right. They're probably back in.
There's only 2 other trucks in the parking lot, so it had to be a big group.
Or they were. Well, there's some private blinds down there. Oh, here we go. What do we got? We got some Ledge Rock Distillery. This is the smoky bourbon. And the combination of.
Which bottle is it?
Some Black Rifle coffee. Second one in.
The second one in? Well, tell everybody what we're doing.
This will be interesting because I know you guys don't sip, and it's very strong. Take like a little bit, so you get the mouth sweats basically. So, let me let yours out quick.
That'd be good with some Coke. I don't know about fucking sipping that though.
It's only one shot.
Better just take the shot and be done with it.
That's if you don't. Yeah, we could do that too. We have.
I get the smoky from it though.
Yeah, that's what. So I tried like 3 or 4 other ones before I tried this one. I think I tried this one last before the moonshine. And that was what, like, I'm like, holy shit! It was so. I had like a little shooter of it, and it was, you could really tell it was way different than all the other stuff. So we have 3 bottles of bourbon, a bottle of moonshine that I put your dad's root beer candies in. I think there's like 16 little candies in there. So that one, you guys are gonna like that one, I think. And then 1 bottle of Scotch, Highland Park, 12-year, and we're taste testing, and we got the coffee to mix it. Did you like? I remember the one day after one of our duck hunts with Bubba, we had coffee and the cigar.
Yeah.
Did you remember how
Uh-huh.
they're like? So you do like the pairings because like each notes will kind of like sometimes they really blend well and sometimes they're like they just like. So a cigar, if it has like a peppery taste and you have the bourbon, sometimes it'll really bring out like that peppery taste in the cigar. Or like if you smoke the cigar and then drink the coffee, sometimes you'll get a ton of different flavors from the coffee that you did not like when you just sip it by itself. We had a hazelnut coffee and a Arabic coffee, and I think we all had the same cigar. It was at 1875, I think. It tasted like blueberries and just like it was insane.
Yeah, I remember asking you, I'm like, is this like a flavored coffee? And you're like, no.
It was just black coffee.
And I'm like, it tastes like blueberries. And all of a sudden Bub was like, yeah, it does. It tastes like blueberries. I'm sure shit. Like it would like wear off and then you'd like smoke the cigar a little bit and then be right back. Like it had to have been like how you mixed it together. Like
that was a good pairing. We were trying to just do like, well, we just wanted coffee and then cigar in the morning, and then
yeah, we cooked up some eggs. That was fun.
we got to do that shit more often. Usually in the fall, that's my favorite. I think we should do a podcast after the hunt and talk about the hunt and stuff, and then we can, if we have like any footage of it, be able to watch it up on the TV. Some days in the fall after the hunt, I'll just sit, drink coffee, and watch duck hunting for like till like noon, for like 2 hours after. Take a little nap, get up.
I love naps.
Now I could do some yard work, like fall yard work. Yeah,
naps.
you had like 6 of them today. 3. I specifically woke up at 4 o'clock to take a nap later at 7.
I love naps, but I wake up miserable. I'm like, oh,
It
I
is
missed
hard
out
to
on
wake
so
up.
much.
Oh, I just think it's hard to wake up. I want to keep sleeping.
That too.
Yeah, that's like, especially if it's winter time. You're like, I'll just stay here all day.
Yeah, when there's nothing to do.
If you take bigger sips, the smokiness is really.
Really?
Oh yeah, take like a bigger gulp of it.
I just tried that.
A bigger sip.
I think my next one's just gonna be a shot and gone.
I think I'm gonna.
I'm sick of sipping. That.
two sips. I'm done. I kind of want to. I got one of my Devo.
I'm gonna miss my beer if I gotta drink that for the next 6 months.
We gotta find something you like.
Did you quit beer at all? Like you're just done with beer?
There's
I had one. Whatever night we.
Oh, that was a
Thursday
yeah,
night.
we had an apple.
One.
Homeowner. Sick. The homeowner gave us. Well, the bush apple, and then he gave each one of us a knife or whatever too.
Really?
Yeah. So it was cool. I got to give those guys each a knife and their paycheck.
He's part of Whitetails Unlimited or whatever, so he gets leftovers from the banquet. So he
Oh,
gave
really?
us each a knife and.
Oh, a big bitch. I was thinking a little pocket knife.
Pretty sweet. Apparently it's sharp as shit. Haven't tried it yet.
Matt got a new shirt.
Oh yeah, and I got a long sleeve from him too, with all this like.
A white.
We're trying to hook up the hunting public with them.
Really?
Yeah. I gave him Jake's number and stuff, and like talk to the guys. Like, so what they do is, so like they have a bunch of sponsors or whatever for all the banquets, and then say like Hoyt is like a bow hunting brand. So if they'll give Jay $3,000 worth of apparel or like accessories for your bow or whatever, like all their branded stuff. Jay will give him $3,000. They'll give them to him at cost. So they're not losing anything, but you're not making any money off the product. But what he'll do is he'll up the price at like the banquets or put them in the auctions and make money off it that way. So that's one way they make money. But then what he's doing for you is getting your brand out there to more people at no cost. You're getting just the write-off at cost, and then he's helping expand your brand. So like these banquets have 500 to 700 or 800 people at them, and then you'll get it, the T-shirt will have like your logo and stuff on it, or like everybody that was a sponsor, and then everybody that enters gets a T-shirt or long sleeve or whatever they have, and then all your stuff at the show.
It's a good plug for the podcast.
Yeah. It's not hunting related, but I'm sure we could figure out a way to get in there. Yeah, I thought it would be good for those guys, and he thought it was somebody else or whatever. He knows about him because his kid.
He thought it was Rut Daniels, but he's more of a comedian.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was. Yeah, so Jake, he was on the podcast. Yeah, it's his dad. That's who we did it for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'll have to look up Rut Daniels. He does some duck and goose hunting joke videos too. It's pretty funny stuff.
Oh,
You'll probably know him.
I was gonna say, have I seen him?
He's got a blonde wig and just does goofy stuff. It's funny stuff though.
Finish this baby.
Thing burns all the way down.
Maybe drink. No, that's probably hot too. It'd probably make it burn even more.
Kind of just want a shot glass.
You. There's one right there. I'll get you a shot glass for the next one. Oh man,
this is gonna be so bad.
Cheers. Just don't breathe till it's gone.
Yeah,
that's my trick. If you don't like anything like tequila, just don't breathe until you swallow it.
Not good. I'm a big breather.
Big breather.
Yeah, one of the two.
Oh shoot.
Oh man.
He's like swishing it around his mouth like mouthwash.
Sinuses are clear.
I ain't getting sick tonight.
It didn't go down. It's still.
Who can't? Oh, Hunter can't drink whiskey. Whenever he drinks whiskey, he says he falls asleep.
Find out. I don't drink whiskey ever.
Hopefully
we'll find out.
Another way to make it taste different is people will put like drops of water or ice in it. Like there's a lot of different ways that'll. You want a seltzer?
I'm probably gonna need one of them to wash this down.
Don't forget, take them suckers off. Bottom left and bottom right drawer.
Wasn't the worst thing I've ever tasted.
Want me to get you some of that root beer? Just a little bit. This one's pretty good.
How good are high noons though?
Sponsored, bro.
High noons are good. Like I do like White Claws, like the Bud Light seltzers. What are the Trulies? That's one, right?
Yeah.
The lemonades, though.
The Trulies, I don't know if I've had them yet, but
The Truly lemonades.
the lemonades?
It's different than a seltzer. I think it's still considered a seltzer, but it's not.
Yeah, because these aren't seltzers, they're vodka sodas.
The carbonation's a little different.
But the high noons are the best.
Oh, we've got over 300 free cans of High Noon.
Really? How?
Sponsored, dude. TikTok video, shotgunning them, like 4 in a row.
You're on TikTok?
Dude, it's a trending video with over 1 million views. I literally get cases of them. There's another case underneath there.
Really?
How?
You're-
It's been like 2 years now.
I've never known. Do you know this?
Yeah, I didn't even know what high noon was until Matt had him.
How did you? You're on TikTok?
Yeah, one of my friends has it. It's not my account.
Oh, somebody filmed you shotgunning
Like 4 in a row.
4 high noons in a row.
Yeah.
And then what? They put it on TikTok, and so now High Noon sponsors you.
Yeah.
You don't have to put any more videos out. They'll just keep sending you.
I
shit?
did like one a week for a while. For
Really?
Like probably like 2-3 weeks.
Well, that when you were in college.
Right, first year out.
First
so
year
2
out?
years.
I didn't know that.
That's because
Am I just like late to the party or what?
Oh, way late.
Oh. So like my excitement for it has died off with everybody else.
Oh no, people are still like, oh, that's from your sponsor. When I get like, there'll be a case by Adam walked in. There's a case. He's like, there's probably 100 cans in there.
You have 100 cans of High Noon?
Not right now. They're almost gone. We took them out.
Well, what the fuck?
Like
I thought you were sponsored.
Bachelor party. What? That was my last batch a month ago. Bachelor party.
So do you keep making them still? You still
no,
make?
I haven't done any for probably last summer.
Really? And they still keep just sending you shit?
All right. So that's what I've been telling people whenever they ask. But you know where I get it, right?
So you're not sponsored? What the fuck is going on right now?
So
you're not sponsored?
no, but I can't tell you where you know where I get all of it. The same person I get all my other shit from.
Oh yeah.
But he'll bring me like a pallet will tip over at work, and he'll just bring me as many as I want.
Oh, so he brings.
So that's
you
only
all of 'em.
seasonal stuff. In the summertime,
Oh.
so in the summertime, there's always way more because the demand's higher for them in the summer.
I
Yeah.
thought.
No, but that
I
the
was like,
same
how do
reaction
I-
you had is the reaction that probably 20 other people still to this day are like, no way. And I'm just like, yeah, like it is a joke or whatever.
Yeah.
But they go with it so well that I can't be like, no. And then we just laugh about it.
It was believable till you were like, well, I haven't done one in like a year, and I'm like, they still send you stuff? Like,
Yeah. So summer. Yeah.
that's not how a sponsorship works.
In the
Like,
summer-
what the fuck?
In the summertime, like there's always way more. So then like this summer, I probably got like 150 cans. The 2 summers ago, though,
They're good too. I
they're
love
like
High Noons.
$12 a box
Yeah.
for 4 of them. There was at one point, dude, I had like $280 worth of High Noon, just sitting on the porch.
Yeah, I like them little Jack and Coke things that he brings.
Oh, I got 3 cases of those too.
Yeah, those are good.
24 or something like that, and maybe even more. No, I think there's
Yeah, everyone thinks they're
24
strong,
or
but I think
32
they're good.
of them. Some of them I feel like are like they messed
Oh.
up. Like some days, some of them feel like it's just Jack right in the can.
Really?
I think. And then other days, maybe if it's cold or warm, it maybe makes a difference. The can. Yeah, some people mix it with Jack.
With Jack?
With Jack.
That's rough.
That's intense. I don't know if I could do that.
Did you try this one yet?
I didn't know.
Did you get him some?
You want to taste this one?
Maybe in a
Give
shot.
him a little one.
I'll
Yeah.
give you.
Shot
I'll
glass,
give you less
maybe.
than a shot. I'll give you.
Give him a little one.
I'd rather do shots than drink.
This
that
is the
shit.
root beer one, right? So he put little like root beer candies in there.
There's gonna be a lot of experimenting going on the next 6 months with alcohol. Beer's kind of been my thing for a long time.
So you're just gonna quit beer.
I'm gonna try. I already quit soda, so now I
Did
want to
you?
quit beer.
Do you drink a lot of soda usually? Yeah.
A case
6.
a day.
A case of soda a day?
Probably.
Oh, you should have seen.
Oh, that's a lot of soda.
This guy used to be a grumpy Gill in the morning. He'd come in, and then some days, about 2 days a week, he'd come in, I'm like, oh shit, he's already a little grumpy.
Yeah.
He doesn't, but cut out the soda, don't get that afternoon crash too much, and he's been doing cardio twice a day, as well as on a fat burner, so that that caffeine and
Yeah.
right in the morning, and he'll take that and then do his cardio, and then about lunchtime or so, the other part of the fat burner, what is your? I told him like you're gonna like all day. You're just like fuck. You're just like in such a vibe to like because you're just going nonstop all day. What's your take on it so far? It's been a week.
I like it, yeah. So far, I just do my cardio in the morning. House is cleaner than it's ever been.
Yeah, send me video like 6:30 in the morning, mopping the floor.
He's on his hands and knees with a toothbrush, just fucking scrubbing.
Oh, just wired. As soon as I get it in me. Ashley took one. She said it didn't do shit for her, but I feel like it just.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Do you like drink coffee normally, or like a lot of Mountain Dew or something?
Just Mountain Dew. I usually start drinking Mountain Dew as soon as we get to the truck in the morning.
So you don't have like a real strong tolerance to caffeine already?
No.
Just.
You ever take a fat burner?
No.
Oh, dude, it doesn't matter what your tolerance is.
Really?
That shit would just kick you in the ass.
Just like it's like a
Oh,
stimulant?
for like 4 hours straight.
Really?
You're just like,
Yeah. You can
it was my
feel-
favorite thing in the wintertime when like I would be on them. Oh yeah. Like,
What's
you get
in them
so,
that you get so jacked?
there's 2 or 3 different blends of caffeine and then some other shit.
It's just a little pill too. You can tell right as soon as lunch gets there. All of a sudden I'll start yawning. And it's like, all right, take the second one.
I'd get addicted to
You
something
take
like that.
you take like 2 to 4 a day depending on where you're at in in your fat burning
Yeah.
stage or whatever. And
That'd
you
be
gotta build
something I would get
tolerance.
addicted to, just like for like the mental stimulant
it's
at work.
crazy. Then you like come off of it for like 3 months, 4 months, do like another cut phase or whatever, depending on what your goals are.
I did it just to get away from the soda, keeping me awake.
You don't
But-
do coffee or nothing?
Nothing.
We should just start doing coffee.
Oh, it's hard though. You take this stuff and it's just like 5 coffees.
Really?
I usually have a thing of coffee every morning before we go,
Yeah.
and then I have or I'll have an energy drink. Depends what we're doing that day. A roof, my favorite thing for that is probably a bang.
Bang.
Because usually we're doing like a tear off first, so then for 3 hours that's what you're doing. So I like to have that
Yeah.
like you're already sweating before you get there, and
Mhm.
then you're kind of able to just like stay in the zone instead of like otherwise you're like oh fuck like you got to like sometimes if I don't take anything sometimes it takes me like an hour to get going until I'm like sweating good. Once I start sweating good, unless it's hot as shit out, if I'm sweating right away, that's when I can like you just turn the switch on and go.
What do you think, bang or the rains?
50-50.
Yeah.
I used to be all about the bangs, but usually not like the gas station down here. They got a deal for 3 of them, so I always get those.
I like bangs, but I'm a big Monster guy.
Really?
Monster
like
still? I like the Monster Rehab, the tea one.
Yeah, that's what Hando likes a lot.
Like the
he doesn't like
peach one.
he doesn't like carbonation.
Yeah.
So that's what he drinks.
No carbonation. They taste
Or
good.
Rockstar.
They don't get me like jittery like a normal Monster will.
too much, and then
I think it's the sugar. I think they put too much sugar in that kind of stuff. Cause
in a Monster.
yeah,
Yeah, and not a Rain.
no,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. The sugar is different. That's a different high. I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
I think
Got
cutting the
that
sugar
lipstick.
out is good. Yeah, it's in my hand.
That's another thing too. Now he's not having fucking. Every can of soda is like 45 grams of sugar. So then you get like like you'll know it's like a lackadaisical feeling or whatever when it wears off. It only lasts for like maybe an hour.
It was like $16, 15 or $16 for 100 tablets too. So I mean, way
It's cheap.
cheaper than soda.
Have you done any
So
caffeine
cheap.
pills? I bought some caffeine pills on Amazon. They're caffeine and L-theanine in it,
Yeah.
and that L-theanine's supposed to like be like kind of more of like a mental stimulant. And I can take like 3 of those in the morning when I forget to make my coffee, and that's like I don't get jittery. It's just like
Locked in.
locked in on it. But then it's like, oh fuck. If I keep taking these, I'll just stick to my coffee and like I don't want to.
One of my favorite things. I didn't do it much last winter because we had the house and stuff. That's what we worked on all the time. But coffee and
Yeah.
we drank a ton of coffee and we had coffee running basically 24/7 when we worked on the house. But go to the coffee shop if you have like when you start your bids and stuff. we'll have to go to the coffee shop, and you just put your headphones in, play some music, and then just sit there, like, coffee or your cat. Like, it's just because it's, like, a calmer environment, and, like, the smells of, like, you can just, like, lock in on what's going on. I used to, when I would study the shit out of, like, real estate or, like, investing, like, different stocks, like, analyzing them, I would go to the coffee shop at 7, right when they would open up. Like, get there, get, like, the $2 unlimited refills of black coffee, and it was, like, right in the corner was the pot, like, where you could go up to. There's, like, 3 or 4 different ones at all times, and I would just sit right in the corner. Dude, I would, till, like, noon or 2 o'clock some days, just be sitting there for hours. Like, you'd get up, or I'd go to the gym before, and then go walk right next door, and so much shit done, but you'd be so locked in because you're so caffeinated. I love it though. I want to take a break. Look at this guy's face from oh, that guy right there.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, it's all puffy.
Yeah, it's like I want to take a break. Did you watch Rogan had a guy come on like maybe a month ago now about he stopped coffee for 3 months. And he said he took, what are your thoughts on that?
Better than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. He said that he had his first cup of coffee in 3 months, like no caffeine, nothing, for 3 months. And he's just like, Joe, I can't even, the euphoria, just like, it was just like, holy smokes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I kind of want to try it just to see, like, it would suck when you got off of it, like no caffeine.
Oh, I couldn't do it.
Because you'd have that afternoon drowsiness. They say, like, it's like a really high, like 3 out of 5 people get afternoon drowsiness. Oh, I'm one of them. You know, as soon as we eat or sit in the car, dude, I could fall asleep instantly.
I think I can fall asleep at any time.
Oh, yeah.
In any position. Like, I could fall asleep, just put my head against the wall and close my eyes, and I could fall asleep at any time of the day.
When my dad had different medicine for his, like, epilepsy, he could fall asleep just standing there. Like, he would just...
I have a hard time falling asleep. It takes me hours no matter how tired I am.
Oh, no.
Like
Your mind race?
Yeah, if I take pre-workout after 5 o'clock, you can bet I'm up till midnight because the mind is just racing.
That's how hydraulic comes into play.
Yeah.
That's all I take.
I've been trying to, like, help him with, like, he's like, he noticed it already. I'm like, yeah, you just got to take hydraulic. Otherwise, if we get to the gym late, he can't take caffeine.
I think just, like, how it opens up blood vessels and it helps with, like, circulation. I think that just, like, pumps more blood into your brain, too.
You feel
so I get, like, locked into, like, not only you can, like, feel the muscle group that you're trying to target. So if you're doing, like, biceps, you can mentally lock into your bicep and you get that mind to muscle connection so much easier. But then also I'm, like, more awake. I'm more, like, into I'm, like, either a podcast or the music I'm listening to, like, just get sucked in.
Today I didn't take any pre-workout, no hydraulic, nothing. And I just did arms for, like, half an hour. I got a good pump or whatever, but I was, like, looking, like, vascularity-wise, like, you could see, but it, like, not even close to the days I take hydraulic, where they're just all widened out. And
dude,
or, like, you feel like you're just going to rip your shirt.
Yeah, dude. When I do an arm day, my arms aren't even big. And I'm, like, I'd sit and, like, look at the mirror and, like, pinch at my skin. It's, like, my skin is so tight, dude.
I love that when, like,
so
I don't know, you've experienced, like, you're new to the pump or whatever. That shit's addicting, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Matt's always like, go a little deeper. I'm like, I'm all swollen to shit right now.
Oh, yeah, or, like, you get done with the set and, like, you're both looking at each other or whatever, and, like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Arnold said that was, like, he said getting a pump to him was, like, coming. Like, that was...
Yeah.
It was just that addicting to him where he's just like,
Have you seen that Mike Tyson on Joe Rogan when they're talking about, like, punishing pain on people, and Mike Tyson's like, yeah, it's orgasmic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy fuck, dude. I think that was the podcast that Rogan, he keeps talking about it still, like, when I design these tables, like, I put distance between me and my guest because I was sitting across from Mike Tyson and he's talking about, like, inflicting pain on people is orgasmic, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, one swing across the table and a guest could just.
Knock you right out.
Yeah, he talks about how he, like, designs his tables and gives, like, extra room in his, like, new studio because of Mike Tyson.
We got to figure out. I think our best bet up there would be like a spool, because
Yeah.
it would be big enough to put your stuff on it. The cords could run through the spool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could run the cords through the spool, or down along the.
Yeah.
And we could like hammer tack them somehow to the side of the spool, and then like, oh, this shit's not in the way. There's plenty of room for all your stuff, and I think it's a smaller room, so we'll all be able to still kind of. The biggest thing's going to be the table and chairs, because obviously the room's not huge to begin with. But
Yeah, you want to do, like, lounge chairs or, like, computer chairs?
I kind of want to do like a lounge chair, like
Yeah.
a smaller, like they sit kind of low, but they're not like leaned way
Yeah.
back. They're like them little leather ones, but they're expensive for each. You were sending me stuff, and it's like it was really hard to find 4 of the same style and color, unless I could do like 2 and 2, and like a
Yeah.
charcoal and a black, or like mix them in something like that.
You can find them on Marketplace for like $20, but you only get one.
Yeah.
And you know the next one ain't gonna match.
No.
it, so you're
That's
gonna,
the problem.
So it's like I kind of want to just fork out like $800 and go get some nice ones where you could sit there for.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to be able to sit there for a full podcast, a cigar, or whatever, like where you could just sit there and you're not like in these. Eventually, you're like, I gotta stand up, or like when you do stand up, you're like, oh. I want something comfy where everybody can just. If somebody gets a little too fucked up, they can fall asleep if they want.
I'm excited for smoking cigars up there.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Dude, these,
You got the names of them now.
yeah. So a buddy of mine from work, me and him we've been going out Friday nights for a couple beers to the bar, and we're talking about cigars. He's like, yeah, I got like 700 cigars at home. And I'm like, what? Like, how big is your humidor? He's like, well, you vacuum bag them, or not vacuum bag them, you Ziploc bag them, and you put these, them little gel, the
Yeah,
square
humidor
things.
pack. Yep.
He said you can buy them in bulk, like,
Yeah, Amazon.
for cheap. Like,
Yeah, I got mine off
put
there.
one in a bag. He says then he puts them in, like, a little igloo cooler in his closet, in, like, bags.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need a humidor.
You could
Like-
even put some of them packets in the cooler too to
Yeah.
even condense the humidity further.
But they're, I don't know. Let me look.
I do want to. That's another thing too. So those of you that are like,
They're
oh, you're smoke-
T52s.
like, you
If
don't
you-
even have to inhale the cigar.
No.
Like, you don't inhale a cigar. A lot of people fuck that up, and they're like, oh, like, it's awful. That's harsh. If you inhale a cigar like that,
Mhm.
it's harsh.
There's no filter, so it's like,
But you just breathe it heavily into your mouth, and then you can, like, you taste it, get the taste out of that, and then sometimes it's called the retrohale. You breathe some of it out of your nose. You don't want to do it a lot, because then it'll fuck the sinuses up, where you won't really be able to get that good of a taste out of the cigar. If you do it too much and too too early into the cigar, you won't be able to taste the differences in the cigar, like, as you continue smoking the cigar, because it'll change. The flavors will slightly change throughout the smoke.
mm-hmm. Yeah, these T52s. That's the best cigar I've ever had, and he just had, like, the littler ones.
Like the one that Hunter had. Like, he had that little one, and
Yeah.
he was just like,
This was like the diameter of a normal
thick though,
one. Yeah, and it's like a normal cigar. It was just like that
a
long.
stubby.
Yeah,
I don't even know what those are called.
but like I sat and smoked it, and it still took me almost an hour to smoke it. But like I stand up out of the chair, and I'm like, oh, I'm all nicked out right now. And even like a full-size Toro of the 1875s don't do that. Like, I don't know, it was good, and it tasted really good. I don't know.
I haven't done a lot of cigar smoking.
Neither have I, but I like it.
Yeah.
I used to just go to like the tobacco outlet in Fond du Lac, and they have like that walk-in humidor, and then I'd go in there and I'd just like buy whatever label looked cool,
Yeah.
and then you get like the different like. They kind of separate them by. Like a darker label will be like a more heavy cigar, and a lighter label will be more of like a lighter tasting cigar, and I used to just go in there, pick one that I thought looked cool, and then I kind of got to like, I kind of like the heavier cigars, so you go to the darker labels, and then pick one, and then I don't know. Like
The
even
label will have like a sticker, or like a pink sticker, a
Mhm.
green sticker, a yellow sticker,
but
and
also the
black.
color of the label itself
Generally, yeah.
tells you
Yeah.
where you're gonna be at, but yeah, then I would just go in, and that's like a $10 cigar, where this is like a $25 cigar. So then I'm like,
The one that he
yeah,
really, he just gave it to you.
yeah. He's like, I literally have like 700 cigars at home.
Holy buckets.
He said you open this one up, and there's some. So if you age a cigar, typically they'll taste better. Some of them won't, but especially this kind of cigar will taste better. And he said that there's some growth that it'll get. It's not mold, but it's like a white growth on the cigar. And he said, he's like, yeah, like these had that on it, so that might be why it tasted so good, because they're aged. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. Have you? There's some. It comes from like
I've
the
heard
wrap.
of aging them or whatever, but I don't know like
There's
why.
some. He said that it looks like mold, but he said mold. If they're moldy, you can't just take your finger and run it across it and pick it off. But whatever this growth is that happens, I don't.
Some
He
sort
was
of fungi.
explaining it, but he said like that helps with the taste.
If you have them like oversaturated, like too humid, or you like you don't have a controlled environment, or you have them packets come in all ranges of like different humidities that they'll stay at. If you have it too high of a humidity, there's actually like larvae in the tobacco leaves sometimes, like from picking the plant and shit, and they can actually come to life, and they'll create beetles that will eat the cigar from the inside out, and you'll have like holes and stuff in the cigar.
Really?
Mhm.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're almost in all cigars, they think. So if you left it out in a like if you left it in a really humid basement and just left it sit out, it would get too much humidity, and like the beetles could come to life and eat the cigar. So yeah, now you know that you're probably smoking beetle larvae.
Yeah.
It's not harmful or anything, but
How long do cigars last in like them plastic tubes and stuff?
Not long.
No. I got some from way back from like weddings.
what
and
you could do
babies.
is look at them, see if they're still in good shape. If the wrappers aren't too dry, where they're like peeled or whatever, you could actually rehydrate them and try to. I would rehydrate them before, otherwise it's gonna be like harsh as all hell. Like you could rehydrate it and see if it worked. Which I have a humidor, you could put them in, give it a whirl. I think it's like a weird little art, but it's I don't know. Like usually when you're smoking them, it's fun just to like you're just bullshitting with people.
I used to smoke them all the time at Country USA because they had like that sledgehammer game where you ding
Yeah,
the bell
they
or
did.
whatever, and you'd win a cigar. So I just go do that every time I wanted to smoke. Ding the bell 3 times and get a
All
cigar.
right, I'll take that. You come back and like an hour later, like all right, I'll do that again.
That's one game I was good at.
The hammer.
Yeah.
Just-
All that splitting wood.
yeah, there you go. That's probably why too.
Summerfest is going on right now.
I heard the tickets are like insane. Don't you have to be vaxxed and stuff for
Mhm.
that?
That's what I heard. And the like, you used to just go to. They had almost, I don't know if almost any bus stop, but like they had designated
Tons of
bus
them.
stops all over the place, and you can just ride the public buses. Just take you like from that.
You could do it from Waukesha.
To Summerfest, and then they're like, okay, 52 is your bus number. So then at midnight, when everyone's like it's like a cattle a herd that goes to all these buses, and you find your bus and hop on the bus
Like
right
summer's
back.
like summer school.
Mhm.
I'm bus 3.
It was awesome. Like, I don't know. Have you been to Summerfest?
I've been to the grounds, but I've never been
Oh,
there.
the whole thing is just like it's just a vibe. Like, you go there, and it's just like a whole separate like world you're living in. Like, it's just stages upon stages, and they're depending what night, but like you go down there and it's like, I know that band, I know that band. Okay, at 9 this band's playing that I've heard of. Like, I'm not down here to necessarily see this particular band, but like I've heard of them, so
Go check
you
it
get
out.
right up in there. Like, oh, it's awesome. And it
live
used to be
music.
just like $20 a ticket, so like all night you got in there for $20. You got all this different food. Like,
You think the prices of them are so high this year because
yeah, it's
one,
the
they
first
haven't
year
had.
back.
Yeah, and
They have a
didn't
lot
get-
of big names there.
They didn't
too.
get anything last year because of the whole bullshit, and now they don't think as many people are going to come because it's really not free to the public because you have to
No, there's a
create.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making you be. I'm pretty sure you have to be.
I think you have to
vaxxed
show a vaccination card to get in.
Fuck that, dude.
Dave Chappelle's performing at the amphitheater.
Really?
One of the nights, yeah.
That's another thing I would do again. I would definitely go to a comedy show.
I'm going to Bill Burr in
That was a
November.
good time. That was a good time.
Have you been up to that Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton underneath?
But right by the overpass.
Kinda,
it's
yeah.
Like in a strip mall.
No.
Oh, I went to one there. They did like a hypnotist thing, comedy.
Oh, this
That was
wasn't
pretty
it.
good.
No, this is under that Arch Brewing or whatever
Mm-mm.
in Appleton. And they have like a little comedy club underneath. That was really fun. And that was like $20 to get in too. Like, even if you don't know the guy, they're probably going to be semi-funny.
Something
Like,
decent.
they're going to have 2 guys open for them. Like,
That was a good.
yeah, you went and
good.
saw Joe Rogan.
That was a good vibe.
That had to have been awesome.
It was pretty wild. I wish I was in a better mood at the time to like experience it, but I tried not to like let that shit like it was a good time still. Like it was fun. There's just so many jokes where you're just like, I can't believe he said that. I'm so glad he said it though.
Yeah, I love watching stand up like on Netflix.
Yeah, I've been kind of getting into it again. Like for years ago, I would watch like Jeff Foxworthy and like just like those guys. My grandpa loved it, so that's what we like. I'm talking like 10 years ago. We would watch that kind of stuff, and now I hope it makes a comeback with like all this censorship shit. I hope it makes a comeback because they talked about everything that like people try to like run from, but it's most of the time it's true. It's the true real world shit that you experience every day, and they're like, why are we sent like? It's supposed to be funny. You're not like the fun like political stuff, racist things. Like they were just saying so many things, but there were so many people of different races that were just sitting there laughing at the jokes because they're like, "You're damn right." Like like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be funny. Like it's not supposed to be degrading anybody. Like you're supposed to laugh along with. They ripped on everybody. Like not specific race. Like everybody got like like I don't know. It was a good time.
Did you come to Green Bay with us when your parents took us up there to see Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy?
Oh,
Yeah,
see, like
me and Ashley went up there with your parents and seen them.
that had to be when you were freaking just out of high school or something.
Yeah, probably.
I wish.
It's a good time.
I want to do more of that kind of stuff, like event style things instead of just like going out and like bullshitting. Like, let's go out bullshit at a dinner, like when we did like New Year's, like just bullshit for dinner, and just kind of go to different events, and then like that's when it's a good time. Or like when we went out on the lake to eat, like the next time, and then all of a sudden we end up crashing a wedding.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I want to do that kind of shit. Like that's the
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Where it's just everything is pretty much spontaneous.
Yeah, you're
Like,
just like let's
let's
do
go
this.
to dinner, and then after that, none of us are doing anything. Let's just see where the night takes us, and then
Yeah.
someone has some idea like, let's go to the fireman's picnic. All right, well, we'll go get drunk at the fireman's picnic. There's live music there, whatever. Driving down the road, we're like, fucking wedding. How funny would it be if we crashed a wedding? All us fucking jerk offs walk into the wedding, like act like we're supposed to be there, like we're all dressed for like a supper club type deal. Like,
we're already dressed up decent.
like we could pull it off. Then all of a sudden we all buy pictures at the fireman's picnic. All of a sudden we get through one or two and we're like, so that wedding, should we go check it out?
Yeah. I have the confidence now to just walk in there. Yeah, I would do that again for sure. I would love to go to one where.
But like every night that starts like that where you're like, who knows where it's gonna take us, and everyone's just like, whatever.
Those are the
happens,
best.
Happens. That's always the best.
Those are the best ones because you're looking for that fun. You're not like you don't already have a plan established. Or you're like, that's what we're gonna do, and you're like, Anna gets mad because like I do so much stuff spontaneously. Like, oh, let's do that. No, we already have plans to do. Well, this does seem kind of fun at the time, right? Like, okay. Yep, sorry. That's what we do. I don't know. It's always fun though. It always usually turns out pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to dive into your stuff, but I kind of want to save it till right at the end.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I want to get you fired up at the end. Because I feel like we could rant about that, and I don't want the whole podcast to be botched.
Yeah.
Is it still recording?
Yeah, we're 45 minutes.
All right, I'm going to stop this one, get it into the media just to make sure, so our video is still there.
I'll stop this one, too.
And then this, like, they go the distance. I thought for sure that one of them was just going to get rocked. And
You watched this fight before?
I watched it yesterday. 2 days ago, I think I was walking or whatever. During cardio, I watched it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
The other guy looks like he's got to be in his 30s, too.
I figured that or like late 20s. Just Dakota Cochran versus Chris Leben, Leben, L-E-B-E-N.
L-E-B-N?
E-N. Leben. Leben.
It doesn't seem like it just. There's no like.
The technique is it's like just throw haymakers and try to knock them out. It's not like the UFC where like a head kick's coming or like that. Just a sweeping left
just
hook,
loading up and just trying to
right
kill
into
the
there.
other
If
guy.
you connected with that, you would.
That's all they're doing is swinging.
Oh yeah, the Dakota guy, the younger guy, like that's what he looks like. He was like a bouncer or something. He just would come in there but this other guy, southpaw, just that right. He's got so much reach.
Yeah, the younger guy's got a little chunkier build, but if he connects.
Oh yeah, like he throws his whole body into it. Look at his
face.
I thought he was done already. Like this is round 2, and there's a minute left. You can hear like his corner, like throw the uppercut, throw the other uppercut. So watch the guy on the right. Every time he comes in with I think his right hand, he drops his like that. He drops his head. So they're telling him like throw the uppercut. He starts doing it like the third round. Every time he countered with the uppercut, he would just nail him. Right there, there's the uppercut again. See how he like dropped his head?
You watched this whole thing already?
Oh yeah. I thought it was gonna be done in like a minute, and I just kept watching. I'm like, I gotta watch how this ends.
Wonder what these guys would do against someone like in the UFC.
They would get their asses kicked.
You think so?
I think the technique.
Yeah.
The fighters nowadays,
Yeah, that's true.
when the UFC first came out, people always had like one of like the 5 like top like like martial arts or wrestling or boxing. They all specialized in like one thing. So like these two guys, both stand-up fighters, but their boxing is what you have to look out for. If they fought somebody like now in the UFC, if you don't have a mastery in like 3 different like jiu-jitsu, like wrestling, boxing, if you don't have that, you're going to get your ass beat.
But do you think somebody from the UFC could take a bare knuckle punch to the, like?
I think so.
Think so?
Yeah, I think so. Because when you have that glove on, imagine how much harder you're just like,
Yeah.
you feel like you're like, your wrist isn't better. Like,
Yeah.
it's locked in there. It's a straight, like, you're much more willing to, like, if you connect, like, if you don't connect straight with bare knuckle and your wrist is like this, like, and you feel that little strain on your wrist, you're going to be less likely to come. But Ben, when he first got here, he's like, these guys got to be on, like, painkillers and don't you think? They got to be just dosed to the max. Because look at
Every
that.
punch is a haymaker. There's
And there's
no,
so
like,
many that connect.
that it gets kind of boring after a while just watching these guys throw haymakers.
Oh, this one I loved.
That's why the UFC is cool because you never like. They
You
could
don't know
take
what's
it.
coming.
They could take it to the ground. They could kick them. They could. These guys are just
Choke
throwing,
them out. Like,
yeah,
if
these
they're on the
guys are
ground,
just
all of a
throwing
sudden you don't know
bombs.
what like transition they're gonna come into. I love that the UFC did so well during the whole pandemic.
You ever split your forehead real bad?
No.
It bleeds so bad,
Does
so
it?
fast. Yeah, it's like you can leave a blood trail for 100 yards that someone could track.
Really?
Like, yeah, I split mine in gym class in high school.
Just
and
everywhere.
I put my hand over it, ran for the locker room, and it was still like just spraying. Just
They say
blood
one of the worst
everywhere.
spots to get hit is right above the brow, like
Yeah,
right
that's
up
where
here.
mine was.
For blood.
Yeah, because you can because that bone right there,
Yeah. Just
you can
splits
just,
it.
oh, you can gouge it. That's why, like, the worst ones you look, it's always right above the eye. I think both of these guys end up getting it by the end of the fight, too.
Yeah, the younger guy, you can see it's just dripping out of him.
Yeah, these guys.
That's
got
true. That'd
brain
be
damage.
the two. So like you said, like if you hit them in the teeth, if you're like in a fight, if you jack somebody's jaw up real bad, that's when they can come after you for like all the dental stuff.
Yeah, I was talking to my officer buddy the other day at the picnic or whatever downtown, and he's like, just don't hit him in the mouth. We were talking about fights or whatever. He's like, don't hit him in the mouth. He's like, that's when they'll come after you. Try and,
Yeah, but that's the weakest part to knock someone out is right on the jaw.
Yeah, but I mean, if you fuck up their teeth, that dude, the one spot too, straight in the nose. You
Yeah.
get tapped in the nose, and you're crying because you can't. Your sinuses are just like, you ever take a ball to the, you're like, oh, like what the, like everything's like.
a good shot to the stomach will mess you up too, especially for a bigger guy that ain't real fit.
Right here and right below the sternum.
That's where you kill someone.
You can't breathe.
You break that bone off right here, that like right in the middle of your rib cage.
Hit
Is
him in
that
the
like
frickin'
you
heart.
see that
Yeah.
bone? Apparently, you like kick someone or punch someone there, that bone breaks off right.
I wonder how
into your
much
heart.
force that takes.
Probably not much. You
I've
can
hit-
break ribs real easy.
Dude,
Yeah,
I've-
ribs break.
I've hit
ribs.
my heavy bag, like, and there are times where I connect with that thing, and I'm like, if that were to hit somebody in the face, holy shit! Like, I'm not like trying to like be like wow, like I'm trying to say like when you connect with it, like everything comes at one. Like
Yeah.
when your hips come through and you connect right when your hips are popped, just like hitting a baseball. Like when everything goes through and you hit a home run, you barely feel it off the bat just
Yeah.
from the force of your hips coming through. I was telling Bleckle that I'm like, cause he like a lot of people when they punch, it's like you just want to like punch a lot. A lot of times they don't like you don't think of that like that quick
Yeah.
pop in your hips. Oh, and there's times when I'm out there and I like focus on just like that quick like. The biggest things like when you jump, the faster that you can go down and then explode up, like the more force you can put out. It's the same thing like when you go to like if you do like a quick like drop that inside shoulder and you come back like real fast with your hips, that kinetic energy is just like,
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to connect on somebody like that. If I feel like you would fuck somebody up, but that's how when people get dropped, it's just. I bet that guy doesn't even feel it when he punches, like when he connects, just because it's like hitting a home run. It's just so smooth that it's just like, yep, you know, right when you hit him too, you're like, oh, that fucker's rocked.
Have you ever been in a fight before? Like like where you're actually like throwing fists with someone?
Not really fist. I cracked my ribs like Kusa with pogo sticking though.
Oh yeah.
Cracked ribs don't stop a fight though, because I didn't know till like an hour after.
Wait,
Yeah.
what were you doing?
Do you remember
You were
They-
fighting with the pogo
Yeah,
sticks?
they got like
the marine thing?
They got like marine pogo sticks.
You remember
No,
at
I've
Kusa
only
when I
been
was
to Kusa
I wasn't
once.
even I don't even think I was 18 yet.
Yeah,
They used
I
to-
think I had to sign off for you.
Yeah, they used to do like full like they would have them sticks in the military where like they have the big ends and shit. You ever never
It's like a Q-tip pretty much. It's got
Oh,
a full
yeah,
one.
yeah,
There's
I
a
know what
metal
you're
rod
saying.
through the
Yeah.
middle.
dude, people would just drop them and just it was a
Yeah.
full like bare knuckle fist fight at times.
I remember that. That's where you cracked your rib?
I got body slammed because they threw the stick down body slamming. Well, I didn't know till like an hour later when I couldn't breathe anymore walking around the grounds. All of a sudden I sat down. I'm like, I just lost my breath. But
I watched Hunter fight a guy that was probably like 230.
I knocked
And-
Hunter out. I found out the rod's like a metal rod, but right on the end there ain't like any cushion. So I took it and I hit him right between the eyes, just knocked him out cold.
Hunter, that motherfucker, I would not pick a fight with him.
He can take a hit.
Oh yeah.
That dude, when we were doing fight night, remember that in high
Yeah.
school? When Hunter fought, he was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I would not fight that motherfucker. Like,
If he had technique, dude, he'd be
iron jaw, like
Oh, yeah.
naturally strong, like
Yeah.
doesn't lift.
No, don't hit him.
You wouldn't judge him by him, like you wouldn't see him be like, that's a strong motherfucker, but like,
You better square up right between
Yeah.
the eyes and
Yeah.
knock him out. because
Yeah,
he
you
can
got
take
You only got a few good hits, and he'll just keep going at
Mhm.
you. I remember one time in gym class, Zimmy got pissed at Hunter, and he clocked Hunter so fucking bad on the head, like 10 times. Hunter's like,
Zimmy did.
yeah. Hunter's like, you hit like a bitch. He just, and then he just like laughed at him. He just did like he just
Yeah.
didn't even throw a punch back at him. He just laughed at him. Mr. White was just like. Yeah, he didn't know he tells me he's like to this day he'll like years later he'll be like, how's Hunter? You know, he asked about Hunter. He's like, I'll never forget that time when he just came at him. Like, I watched Eli fuck Adam too. Adam's another one. Like he's like a smaller weight class, but that kid can take so many hits to the head.
Were you at Craig's that night? Hunter was there at a party all messed up,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they like lined up. Like a group of people just lined up, and Hunter sat there. He said, hit me as hard as you can. And one after another, they just walked through.
Yeah.
And he just laughed every time someone hit him in the head. I'm like,
John punched him
Brain
like
damage.
like twice.
Yeah.
You could just hear, and Hunter's just like, he's like, can I go again? He's like, all right, one more time. He just stood there. Oh yeah.
Have you ever like all out deck somebody like in a fist
I've only
fight?
been in like one fist fight, and it was in like middle school.
I'm always afraid to
But I
hit people
it
nowadays.
was good. It wasn't like now.
It's more of a choke them out, pin them, and tell them
Yeah.
to settle the fuck
The only
down.
time I'm gonna hit you is if you're swinging at me. Yeah, you bet. Like I am very calm for the most part, but that's one thing that I like. If somebody is showing aggression towards me, there's been multiple times where like at school I used to have to like. One time, this dude was just trying to beat Greaves' ass, like big guy. Like I took everything out of my pockets, and I was just like to like put it on the table by the girls. I'm like, you just need to like. Yeah, just hold that for 1 second. Like that guy, like he was just like he kind of saw what was going on too, and then like most of the time you can like de-escalate it by, like if you don't show aggression, but show like
Confidence.
yeah, I'm not gonna fucking back down. But if you start lipping off to somebody, like yeah, like don't try to start the fight. Usually I try to like de-escalate it, but like have confidence that you can back yourself up, and 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna get into anything.
Jake loves that. He'll start fights, and then I just come up there with confidence, and everything settles down.
Yeah,
He's
you
like,
ju-
how do you do it? I'm like, just show confidence, puffs the chest, and walk in.
If I had to, I totally
well, yeah,
would.
And you're also like what 6'4",
230, like yeah.
Jake-
like a slim build where you're like, ooh, I don't know, and then you come in, you're like, motherfucker, like the fucking deep voice. You're like, Jesus Christ, who the
Jake
fuck
loves-
is this guy?
Jake loves that too. There'll be like a dance floor, like 20 people, and Ashley will be out there, and guys will just move in. You go out there, you kind of just walk in, just puffs the chest, and you just stand in the middle. All of a sudden, nobody's dancing. Everyone just leaves.
Ah, shit.
It's like, hey, Settle down a
Yeah,
little
you're
bit.
not trying. Yeah. That's it too. You're just like, all right, like, and you don't really see what's going on here, but I'm seeing a lot more than what you are right now.
Turn it down a notch. Jake's a good one at starting.
Jake got me out of the fight one time.
Really?
Yeah, we were like playing a game or whatever, and I like threw the ball. I just whipped this ball and it hit this kid, and he came running right at me. Jake standing like right to my left, and like he came at me, and he just big old haymaker right at my head, dude. I just went like tucked under, right to the rib cage, right to the head, just sat him down, like right into the door, like, and fucking this other kid just grabbed me and just picked me up and just like Hando had to do before, like he just grabbed me and walked me away, like fucking 280-pound dude.
I can't believe I never got into a fight ever.
Dude, I felt so many times where like, yeah, we were probably going to, and
I don't know why, but I used to just lip off at people.
Yeah, but I think it was
and
like to stir their pot, because you're just like, why is this guy so mad? And then you just say like two
It was
things.
never like malicious towards them, but I knew that like, to me it was really funny. Like just to like, you could like Peter, like Kunish, like we were at spring fling and as they were playing baseball or something, and Peter wasn't doing good, and he's like getting all mad about it. So then I knew like I could just go and just like start poking him with like
little comments.
Jesus Christ, you this or that, like just sitting on the sides, and you just see him getting fucking pissed. And to me, it was always really funny, but I never like realized like, no, this dude's gonna fucking kill you. Like he ain't taking it as a joke anymore,
Yeah.
and I just keep going like, ha. But yeah, never got into a fight. Like pretty close. The closest time was that owner of 2.0. That dude wanted to kill me.
Yeah, that was pretty good though. They were charging like outrageous to get into the thing, and Jason's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, and the guy just can't. And it was
Well, it was like, well, you've been to 2.0. Like,
when it was
it's
good.
not big, and they had some country band, like a cover band, playing, and it was like $20 to get in.
Right
I'm
when
like,
this new owner took over, like the first
Yeah.
week,
So I'm like, $20.
and this was a good spot to go before this.
I looked at like like it was just a worker. I'm like, I'll give you $5 to get in. And that's the most I'm giving you. She's like, I can't do it. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Just to get to the bar.
I'm like,
we didn't even want like.
I'm like, I could pay $20 and get into like a show in Milwaukee of a band that I actually like. Like, what the fuck is this? We're in Fond du Lac. And the chick's like, I'm sorry, like I can't do it, I can't do it. And I'm like looking at these guys like, what the fuck we're not going here, are we? And it was like me, you, and Beak.
That's the night that Kyle.
Yeah. So finally, like, I threw a fit, and the owner comes out. He's like, I'll let you in for 15 or something. I'm like, fuck off. I'll give you $5. Otherwise, enjoy your empty bar. I literally told him that. And then all of a sudden, like, you just seen his face just like, he knew I, like, hit that trigger because his bar's fucking empty. It's pushing midnight, like, and then he just, like, walked me outside, and I think he told you guys that I had
there
to
were a few
leave.
more.
Like,
Yeah, there were a few comments said after, but like it was.
That was
That
the
was the
time
thing-
that I knew that, like, I pushed his button, and then I was so fucking mad that
We're like 21, like been there a good amount of times that summer because it was a good spot to go, like a fun spot. And then this guy took it over, and like his first week, he's charging an outrage. We were telling him, we're like, this is awful marketing. We're like, you know, you're gonna fail if you keep that shit up. Like, we don't know that much about running a business, but we're gonna tell you right now, like, it ain't gonna do good. Like you look at other places that do well, and that's kind of how we were telling, like Beacon, like at first that's what we were telling them. Like, we were being kind of respectful about it, but not full. You're pissed off at the same time, but we're like, dude, we could go to Milwaukee to 4 different clubs and pay $10 to get into all of them and be able to just go around into different bars. And you're trying to charge this much for a band that nobody knows. Like, it was just awful on his part. And they're not doing. I mean, I think they're out of business now. I don't even know if they're open.
Last couple times I've been in there, it wasn't good.
Yeah, like it went downhill fast, and like that's I don't know. Maybe he doesn't treat his employees great or whatever the deal was. But whoever had it before that, they ran the. I think it's a scheme. I honestly think they schemed the shit out of it. But they kill. I still have the bartender. Like I still have his.
That was the owner that wanted us to
like,
go on his yacht.
He. Dude, I should talk to him again and just see what. He's like, yeah, we're going to the Dalles. We got a yacht down there. Like, we're gonna go cruise the big lakes or whatever. Like, you guys can come. Like, and he asked us, is that Saturday, like, to come? Or like, no, we got another thing. But anyways, I think. So they had bomb ass food. You can go there for wings, and they would load your shit up, and it was like $8. Like, good food. The whiskey cokes were like $4. They had all you could drink on your birthday week. This place took no more than a month, and it was completely packed every time you went in there. Like, it didn't matter if it was a Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, every day, just packed. I think what they did was they did a little bit of remodeling, just enough to touch it up. Got it, like, cash flowing like a motherfucker, but knew that it wasn't going to last. So, like, they said, look at the return that we're getting. Like, every week we're bringing in $30K. And then the next guy was like, oh, I got to pay 1.5 for this. Like, I'm going to get $30K a month or week. No, the place didn't last for shit.
Well,
because I don't think it was sustainable. Like, you couldn't, like, you were bringing in so many people, but, like, to do all you could drink on your birthday week, there was times where, like, it's his birthday. Well, then everybody was getting whiskey cokes from his birthday. People start,
and there was no bouncer.
Yeah, that too. So, like, anybody could come in there.
Well, I'm a year older than you, and then you'd bring like Anna in.
You were like 21. So
we
were going in when we were like 19.
I had just turned 21. Well, yeah, you're only like a year younger than me, so
19, 20. Like we weren't even.
Me, John, and Keegan went in one night. Like, they're all a year younger than me.
They did smart but sketchy move.
I remember like Bobby brought like a crew down. It wasn't like for my birthday, but I remember like Bobby brought a crew down from Oshkosh for like something like a college kids from Oshkosh to come down to Fond du Lac.
Yeah,
like,
and you don't.
knew you had a spot.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't see that. Usually, everybody young is going to Oshkosh. But like, this place was killing it. They always had really good DJs in there. Like this, they did a really good job. But I wish, like I said, I don't think it would be sustainable. But if you could find a spot like that, that'd be the place to go.
I remember we went to Molly's one time. I went up to the DJ, and I'm like, "Hey, play "Kill You" by Eminem." He's like, "What do you want? You want some Eminem? I could get that." And I'm like, "Yeah, play "Kill You." He's like, "All right, I got you." And I'm like, "No fucking way, this guy plays "Kill You" by Eminem." Sure fucking shit. He transitions right into it. He's like, "Bitch, I'ma kill you. You wanna fuck with me?" And all of a sudden I'm like, it's all about killing women and slapping bitches and shit. I'm just like,
I can't believe
I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, I can't believe
this guy had to be new to the scene.
I'm like, clearly you have no idea. I think he got through one verse and then
he's like, holy smart.
Transitioned away from that. I'm like,
whoops. You drink your root beer?
Yeah. It was alright.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too great, but it was okay.
But
I feel like it needs more.
I'm not one for sipping liquor, so you could give me top end shit and I'd probably still
be like, that scotch is actually the best thing I've had in a while.
It's
like
let's try that one
the
next
smoothest one.
Too bad Jake didn't show up tonight. He would have loved this. Big liquor guy.
Big liquor guy, huh?
Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's been going for 11 minutes, but yeah, so you we were just talking before we clicked the record here. Ben's been diving into I'll take that. Ben's been diving into the workout scene. He says when he gets involved with something, it's 110%. Like, you just immerse yourself in it. And we started with like 20 minutes of cardio a day, then just doing weights or whatever, about 45 minutes every day. And now it's every morning cardio. Then we go do the weight. Like we could work till 7 o'clock. It's like, hey, we're going to the gym. Like, all right, yeah, we're going to the gym. So find somebody that will push you to keep on, like keep going. Like it's so easy to as yourself just to be like, I'm taking the day off, or I don't have to do this. But as soon as somebody else goes, all right, we're going, right? Well, now you're like, they kind of hold you accountable, like to go and do it. And it's awesome that we have a few people that we can do that with. Like if you're out of town or somebody's gone, like somebody else is there, like, hey, like Kyle, he'll text me, are we going in the gym? Or like it'll be 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Hey, you want to go open the gym up, or like what, like, or Sunday? Like, yeah, sure, let's go. Yeah, it's cool to have that.
I found it so crazy. Like
Into the mic.
I found it so crazy a couple months ago when you started, and we'd rough all day, and Matt's like, I'm going to the gym or whatever, and the next morning, did you actually go to the gym last night or whatever? He's like, yeah, I went to the gym. And then finally I'm like, fuck it, I gotta start getting in shape. So I run for like a week. It's like 90 degrees outside. Go home.
Worst week ever.
I'd start running. Just worst week ever. Completely soaked. Ashley's asking me, what the hell were you doing? I'm like, I just ran for a mile.
Yeah, but the mental like edge that you get from that of
I
like
think that's
nobody
why.
else is out here right now.
Yeah.
Nobody else, like very few are doing this.
Dude, that's what my thing was. Like when I got off a roof all day and it's 90 degrees out, we're shingling till 5, and all of a sudden, like, you're going, yeah, I'm fucking chest day, dude. I'm gonna go fucking hammer this out. You gotta be shitting me. It's like, then you get there, you're just like, I don't know, you just have like this edge, and then you're like, if I didn't and I just went home, I'd be like, oh, I had a long, like, I feel tired, I just want to, like, just chill out. After I get to the gym, like, I'll come back, do fucking bids, paperwork, like, I'll do that for 2 hours. Like, if I didn't do that, I would push that off if I didn't go. Like, the gym keeps me, like, grounded into, like, who I am. Like, that, I found, like, that is who I, like, that's part of me. Like, if I don't do that, no. Like, one of my soups is like, how, you go to the gym before work. It's 4 in the morning. You tell me you go to, yeah, like, it helped me drive the hour and a half that I had to get there. It's kept me awake. Or, like, when I got to work was fucking easy because I already knew that. I had that edge of, like, I did this, and you fuckers are walking in here, like, oh, it's going to be a long day. And I'm just like, fuck no. Like, I'm going to run this jackhammer for 8 hours. Like,
I'm so wired when I get to work right now. It's just,
dude, I know. I've noticed it, and
like,
I love it, actually. It makes it, it's good. Like, it's better already. Like, I already noticed the difference.
People call you after going to the gym at night, and you're like, yeah, I just got out of the gym. Well, what'd you do before that? Well, I ripped for 10 hours. And
Yeah.
It's like,
dude, it's an edge. Like, it feels good.
I like it.
And, like, you're, like, on a high all day long, just, like, killing shit. That's, like, been my routine the last couple weeks. Like, people are like, oh, when are we going to hang out, or can I swing by? You're like, no, dude, I'm working. Or, like, people are catching on. Like, Jake today's like, I was going to ask you what you've been up to, but I kind of already figured. I was like, yeah, I've been working. He's just like, yeah, I figured that. Dude, I don't know. Like, I've been getting a high off of just, like, we'll go do a roof, then go to the gym, and then go roof another guy's house that same night and get back at, like, 8:30. And then get up and go do it again, dude. It's you're making good money, so, like, that's, in a way, like, that's why I wish Jake was here, because I want, like, Ben was talking to him about setting goals and stuff. If you don't have, like, long-term goals, short-term goals in mind, doing all this wouldn't mean anything. Like, you'd be like, why the fuck would I do that? But it's like, if you have a vision in mind of where you want to be by a certain time, it's so much easier to go do this. And then, a year ago, I always would hear, like, people be like, enjoy the process. Like Gary Vee, like, enjoy the process. Like, it's eat shit for a while. It's going to suck, but enjoy it. There are days, like today, I'm like, fuck. Like, why am I even out here right now? But then I'm like, if you have them goals in mind, you just sit. I took 5 minutes and I just sat there, like, just like sitting there, like breathing, like just like focusing on my breath, thinking like, all right, like, this is the shit I want. This is why I have to be out here. After that, easy. I didn't even care that I was there for 3 hours longer than I thought I was going to be there, because I'm like, I'm going to get that check. Like, this is why I'm out here. Like, I'm fucking good. And then, like, you get home, and you're just like, another thing off the list. Like, and then I've noticed having a list and crossing shit off the list. I'm like, now I know I'm getting shit done, because it's not like, it's like Andy says, like, have the 5 things every day you got to do. Like, working out's always one of my things. Like, I have to get that workout in, or like bids, or just simple little things like message this person to plan like this happening. Like, you just get out everything so everything stays in line, so that way things don't get hectic. Otherwise, you're like, fuck, I forgot. I've worked with people that do that, where they don't have a full out plan and they kind of just go day to day, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I got to go get this piece of equipment, or oh, like, I should have grabbed this, or like now you're rushing around to get shit ready. Like, if you can keep on planning and crossing off the little things, where like you, before a big pour, dude, I will draw out the slab that we're pouring and look how I want to like pull the bays, or like just like little, like, you know how like all of a sudden you're like vibing this part, well then you got to do your wet screed here and then pull this bay. Like, I'll do all that, so like when it comes to the pour, like I tell him every time we're like driving there, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of nervous. Like, I just get like this adrenaline rush when it's, because it's like your name on the shit, like, and like you busted your ass to get it all ready, get everybody there, and you're just like that's my thing right now. Like, I know that's gonna change. Eventually, I'm gonna find something else where it's like fuck, we might be building an apartment or like storage units. What, that's gonna be our shit at that time. Like, it's gonna be like, how can we do this faster? How can we, like, all right, do we have the frickin' permits for this? Do we have all this shit ready? Like, are we gonna have the materials here at this day? We need to get the slab done at this day, so we're like, it's cured before we put all, like, just having like the list and order of doing shit, like, it makes things go, so there's so much less anxiety towards other, like, what could go wrong, because like you've prepared. Shit can go wrong, but like Jocko, like, if you prepare for A, B, C, and D, if A, B, and C don't work, you still have backup plan of D. Like, some people just like, oh, if this doesn't work, we'll do it. Sometimes they don't even have what B is gonna be, right? Like, oh, if it comes like as far as like, I'm trying to think of like work, like maybe I plan to have 10 guys there, but only 3 of you are just standing there shoveling a little bit or whatever. Like, I have your plan C and D, because if shit goes wrong, somebody's got to be back there filling or like floating with Dad. Like, when like he's on a big job like that we had the other day. Like, if I would have just been like, oh, we'll be all right, and we only have 7 people, and all of a sudden we need 2 people running back and forth, like, then shit gets hectic, and then I'm like, holy fuck, like, you know, and then you're panicking or whatever, which sometimes it happens even when you have enough people. I'd rather pay people $100, $200 to be there for 4 hours and not do shit, just in case something happens where, yeah, we needed you. Like, yeah.
Goals are huge to me, though. Like, me and Jake only talked for like an hour and a half before we got interrupted the other night, but goals, small, big, have them. Ones you can achieve, and if you do achieve them, it's wild, I guess, and then just make them bigger and bigger again. I was trying to explain that to Jake. He was wondering what I do for drive and what his drive is, and I said it changes all the time. Like, I used to love to fish, I used to love to play baseball, now it's hunting. After that, like I told Matt, I think it's going to be work now, successful businesses.
Yeah, dude,
and
you're taking over a freaking business that's done well for
right.
70 years now.
Right now it's the gym, so it's going to be incorporating that with it all. But,
and then keep on, like, once that becomes easy, you just, like you said, like, you just keep on setting them higher and higher, and you just keep pushing yourself. I was just listening to like a podcast, like, today, I think, while I was cutting, like, you have one chance at it. Why just like idly go by? Like, why not just keep on pushing yourself to like try to like meet these new limits? Like, if you don't have any vision or small goals in mind, the day to day just sucks ass. And then if you have the long term in mind, like, you're just like, okay, you're like getting through this week. Well, there's like, what did you do that week that is going to lead you to where you want to be? Like, it gets easier to look at it like, I only got to go for 8 hours. Like, these 8 hours are going to pay for this or get me to this. Like, and then you just do it day by day until your small things crossed off. Well, then all of a sudden those 5 small things that you had for your little goals will create your one big one that you had. Well, then it's time to start over, clean slate. Where do I want to be from here? Like, I think the big thing is like set high ones. So like you said, like if you hit the little ones, it feels good, but that keeps you driving to like, now I got to set another bigger one, a bigger one. And like you're going to have setbacks, but at least you have a road that you're looking towards. Otherwise, the day-to-day just sucks ass. That's what I want to tell Jake. So, Jake, I hope you're like listening to this because
it might just be me, but when I wake up in the morning, my first goal is, all right, get out of bed, do my cardio. When I get to the job, Dad says, this is what we're doing. My goal for today is how far do I think I can get with that?
Yeah, dude.
I said it's somewhat reasonable, but I know I want to fucking get more than that done. And then when I get done, the whole day when I'm doing that goal, I'm thinking, all right, in 5 years I want to be here. In 10 years I want to be here. In 20 years I want to be here.
Yep.
Me and Jake talked about that. He's like, where do you want to be in 5 years? What's your 10-year goal? And we're talking about this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I can get it in 5. It might be a 10-year, but for right now, that's my 5-year.
Yeah.
And if you don't hit it, when you do hit it, you're like, all right, fuck yeah, now we got to do another goal.
That's the thing too. Like while you're at work, and shit's rough, or like you get that, oh, I don't want to be here, but then you got to think, I have to be here so I can get to my mark.
Goals run me though.
That's
like when I wake up, that's the first thing in my
mind. It's good that like you're like you already have that, but that's one of the reasons that we started talking about this too, is one for like each other, but for other people to see that and like to have a road map for themselves.
That should be your first thing in your mind, at least in my mind when I wake up.
Yep.
All right, what am I going to start? What am I going to accomplish in the first hour?
Yep.
What am I going to accomplish 10 hours from now? And when you're hitting them, if you're missing them, you're like, all right, I'm setting it too high. We couldn't do the whole roof today, but...
Dude, I love going to like a job site and I'll look at it. I'm like, I'm still new to all of it too, and then I go to bed and I'm like, oh, we'll be done by today. And he's just like, oh, you think so? And like, the days that it happens, I'm like, yeah, I told you. Like, but like in a way, like it's like to each other. We're like, yeah, it's because like.
I like watching my dad too, where he's like, this is what you're gonna do today, and I'm like, I don't know about that, pops. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 5 o'clock comes, and it's like, fuck yeah, we did all that.
Dude, I love that because like he'll set our baseline or something, and all of a sudden we'll get like. Blow it out of the water, and he's just like, well, I guess tomorrow we could put some doors in. It's like we just did way more than he thought. Oh, those are the good ones.
Yeah. That one job we did last week or the start of this week, he's like, yeah, this one's going to take you a couple weeks. And then 2 days in, me and Matt are like, so what's next?
Yeah, he's like, he was talking about it for like 2 weeks.
Big job coming up.
Big job coming up. And we get there 2 days and we're just like, we got it. Dude, it'll take us probably like 2 days to finish the whole thing because we have everything is set, ready for the materials. And now like when it comes, we'll just, I can't wait. Like you love doing garages. I want to get good at those where like we pour a slab, build a garage, and like,
I can't wait for this first one
boom.
coming up just to do it.
Oh, I like it because like I don't know, like
it's so
the one thing I have to like get better at is like, so when I was at Smith, like it was after I was on so many job sites, you kind of were dealing with the same type of shit. Like if you were doing walls or like a demo thing, like, and you work with the soup and like, all right, well, these are like A, B, C, and D has to get done before we can get to this. Well, then they would just be like, hey, this is what has to get done. Well, then I was able to be like, I've done this before. I just have to, and then you could just, boom, fly through it. Like, that's what I have to, I'm trying to like get better at, like with you. Like, I'll watch you do something for a little bit, like, so I have an idea or like catch on to things. But then it's like, I don't like just like, like when you were doing that door on Friday, I'm like, I could just like watch how you do this, but I've seen it done, and now it's more of like pissing around with getting this 2x4 out of there, like all that. And I'm like, I gotta do something else. Like I can't just stand here. Like so, I'm like, Pat, like what needs to be done?
I feel bad because I ain't training you, but I know you don't want to stand there.
No, yeah, there's like
I know you don't want to ask questions and stuff, but you're like, oh, I want to go do something. But
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what to do either.
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
I just went. I'm like looked around. I'm like this shit. Like there's a bunch of like trim and like plot. I'm like this shit either needs to get the fuck out of here because it's gonna be in our way when we get to this room. So I'm like Pat, like what are you doing with all this stuff? And he's like, well, we could throw. I'm like, all right, I'm fucking throwing it away. Like, and then I'm like, what else? I'm like, do you want me to start? Like, what are you doing in these walls? You want me to mud these walls in? Like, you want to get started on that? I'm like, yeah, like, I just need something. Like, my day's going to go better if you just fucking give me something that I can just go to town at. So, like, dude, the afternoon flew because it was just like, all right, I know what I'm doing. Like, just mud in the wall.
It's probably better you did leave anyways, because Pat gives me a 36-inch door to fit in a 30-inch opening. So
yeah.
I'm just tearing shit apart. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Dad,
I knew you were like, you're on like the edge, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let him fucking do this door. I'm gonna go find something to do. Cause like I've seen you put him in. I had an idea of what the fuck's going on, but I didn't want to just be like, you know, you're wrenching on this fucker. I wasn't just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna wait. You know, I can't do that. I fucking hate like when we have slower days and it's like.
I'm a terrible trainer though, so if you need to know something, you just gotta let me know.
Ask.
Because
Most of the shit like.
otherwise,
I just had to see you do it a few times, and I kind of like.
Otherwise, I just usually walk by after you screw it up and be like, "That's not how you do it. This is what you gotta fix."
Yeah, that's good too though. Like, is that like or like I'll do something. All right, Pat, Ben, like, well, you know, we do it like this. Okay, like you just learn from fucking it up too. Like if I know it's something I can fuck up but we can fix, that's fine. But like say it's like a finished piece of wood. Like if we were doing like. The handrails and shit, I wouldn't just be like, you know, like fucking with it. Like, then I'm like, all right, you sure? Like, yeah, like eventually, like I want to be able to fucking run 2 guns up there, and I would love to have somebody else up there throwing us like shit. Like that'd be the best.
It'll all come. I don't push anything because I've been doing it since I was 8 years old, so I don't expect much from you right now.
Years old.
Yeah.
I've been building houses since I've been like.
Literally,
like since I could walk, I've been on a job site. So I look at Matt and I'm like, oh, he kind of fucked that up. But I'm like, he's been doing it for 6 months. I've been doing this since I could walk.
2 months.
So I'm like,
I hate that though.
Right.
Like
July, I started. I think the first week of July.
Yeah. Even like pouring. Like with you guys, it's like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I
Like,
hate that feeling.
like
It's
I know,
Yeah,
I know,
well-
I could like grab a boat float and just follow you guys, but I guarantee you that like we'll get to the bottom of it and you'll be like, "What the fuck have you been doing?" So it's like now I just stand there with a shovel, like
Yeah, but that's
fill
what
holes. I'm like, I know I'm capable of like learning it, but
Yeah.
like who the fuck is gonna teach you when everybody's busy? Like,
No, that's like so. That's what I like to do is like, get like slowly bring like you guys onto smaller jobs where it's like 1 or 2 of you or like, because that's what we do with like Ben. That's what we're trying to do with Ben and like Kyle is like, if you're doing smaller jobs or you literally have all day to finish the slab, you can be like, okay, here's how you use an edger. Here's why you're using the mag this way, like. You know, when you do the edge, like take your mag behind you and wipe down this little seam you left with your edger. Like, here's how you run the bowl float. Like, now when you're running the bowl float, don't fucking crank the handle and you know you're gonna leave a freaking ridge. Like, it's like then you have time to do that. But on like the 2 jobs that you helped with, they're big fucking jobs, and it's like I had you guys. Like I was saying, I had you guys there in case. Like, all of a sudden you got to run up to the top of the hill. You were brooming by the time we were even done pouring. Like, you have to have enough manpower.
Yeah, but there's so many
for
times that I'm like, even with the 2 driveways we did in Fox Lake, there's times where I'm like standing there with the shovel and I'm like,
what am I doing?
Well, like I know there's a hole there, but like nobody's there to boat float it flat.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? Just drop a pile there and then just leave it? Like, what? So then you go down to the bottom, and then all of a sudden, like, Duke's like, what the fuck, you? Like, I need holes. And I'm like, go up there, and then it's like, I don't know where the fuck to, like, fill in. Because, like...
The issue is, like, that vibrator we have, like, the vibra screw we have now, it doesn't have a consistent vibration, and then it has too much vibration. The throttle's like fucked up on it, so I'm getting a new one of those. I was probably gonna order that this week, but when you have a new one of those, like it doesn't leave like a little like. So what happens when it vibrates too much is it like will pull that cream up, but then the cream will settle, so then you get like a little ridge, and then you gotta freaking go throw a little bit of Crete in there or whatever to bowl float it in. Like when you have a nice screed that just has a real smooth vibration, it's so, dude, I can't wait to get one of them because there's like, you could do big jobs and it's so fucking easy. Like you have so much time because it leaves a nice thing of cream. You can float it real easy. Like you're not rushing to do any, like big jobs. Yeah, you're going to rush because like it's a 90 degrees out and like it's hot as fuck. Like
that's what I love about concrete is it's an adrenaline.
It is, dude.
Like,
it's
and
fun.
I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
Everyone says adrenaline drives you, and in concrete, it's like it's a rush. It's just
because
so
you only have
fast-paced,
so much time, and when it's 90 degrees out, you might have 1 hour from the time that first stone hits the ground till you're brooming it and it's done. And then there's days like we had 3 hours that we were able to work and finish that slab because it was 70 degrees out. It was cool, overcast. Like those are nice too because then you can teach people shit. I like being able to like slow down, show guys like what's going on because then when it does get fast, I don't have to be like, somebody get back there and fucking start. I don't know how to edge. Like, like we're such a young crew, but when we get shit done, it feels so good. And like, we've done some pretty big jobs. Like, I don't know. Like, I would be like, yeah, we did that. Fuck yeah, we did that. Look at it. Like, go look in there, find some flaws. Like, if you know concrete, you might find 1, 2 flaws. Like, I'd be like, oh, we could have done this edge a little better. But anybody else would be like, fuck, like nice, like.
Stupid saying it, but wheelbarrow. And the other day, I fucking loved that just because it was fucking
that does sound stupid. You're right.
It's fucking.
How the fuck do you like
I
wheelbarrow?
fucking liked it just because it was that drive. Like I was passing Kyle up. Like,
oh fuck!
Because he was racing. He was racing. Yeah, he's racing.
I love that shit.
You
though.
make it a game. Yeah.
I love adrenaline. Like.
You make it
anyone that knows me really good, like it's like
man.
you just fucking get into it. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's like a game. Like
let's
see how fast we
so
can
that
go.
was Thursday night. It was actually basically 2 jobs, like 2 pours, but we did it at one time. It was a patio in the backyard and then a slab next to the garage, which was an extension of the driveway. It was 2 trucks or whatever, but it was a good day to do it because it was cool out and we didn't. The one guy's like, you got to get some more help. I'm like, for what? Like, I got 2 guys wheeling. What do you want me to have? 4 fucking wheelbarrows? Like, you can't wheel. Like, you ain't gonna be able to get them all in here anyway. Like, 2 guys. I think it went perfectly fine. We had all day to finish the thing. Like, I don't care if the truck has to sit there for 10 minutes longer than he thought. Like, I'm fucking paying you. Like, you just let us do our own shit. Yeah, you don't worry about what we got going on. You're getting paid.
Giving you shit, the driver?
Yeah, he's like, you need more guys. I'm like, we ain't going to be able to go any faster anyway. Like, you can only fit 2 wheelbarrows next to each other in this lane anyway.
I'll wheel any day. I love that.
Okay, hey, so you're signed up. I hate wheeling.
Not me.
Jason had the worst wheelbarrow ever. And we had to wheel the fucker for like 60 yards, it felt like. It was probably like 40 yards.
I like anything physical, though. Anything that pushes me.
So, yeah, we did that and then go to the gym after. Like, you're like, yeah. But we went to Pizza Ranch for dinner.
That was bad choice.
Hammered it, though. Dude, hammered it.
We were waiting for Jake to get off work, so we're
like, we'll go to
made a choice to go to the buffet again.
And then we'll go to the gym after. It worked for me. I'm still down right now.
I was 218 this morning. That's the latest.
Back down.
How much water weight do you think you hold?
Oh, well, your body's 70%.
I gained 2 pounds at the gym drinking it. I like drink all my water when I get to the gym because I forget during the day. So I like slam like a gallon of water and I'll weigh in at like 220 when I get there, and all of a sudden I'll slam my water, go jump on the scale, I'll be like 222. I'm like, all right, now I'm where I'm supposed to be. All right, let's go.
Normally I weigh in at like 147, 148. The other day I didn't drink any water all day long, and I went to the gym right after work and weighed myself, and I was like 143.
Oh yeah,
You think
fluctuate.
You think that
5 pounds within
water.
Hours.
You think that's all water? Because that's the only thing I'm like. The next day I was right back up
Yeah,
to like
water,
147,
water.
148. I'm like,
Water.
am I
Well,
really?
you're losing water right now just breathing.
Well, I know that, but like that many pounds of
Yeah,
water weight?
dude, your body's 70%.
Yeah.
I'd say 2 to 5 pounds. Is
Easy. I can
Yeah.
fluctuate. I could wake up 5 pounds lighter. Just wake up.
Yeah.
Just from your like body expending the energy. Just
Like
wake
I
up.
weighed in before the buffet. I was like 218.5 or something. We came back. I was 224.5 just from going
Water
to
and
the
food,
Just
Powerade and food.
Powerade
man.
and food. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? That's the heaviest I've ever been.
But you probably put on 2-3 pounds just in drinking fluids. at
So
that
are you
time.
trying to cut or are you trying to gain?
He
I
wants
was
to
gonna cut, but then
I
Matt
told
wants
him,
me to
What
bulk
if
to
you
start
what
with.
if you cut like fat out and then just bulk muscle?
Well,
You'd
like,
be fucking scary, dude.
no. Like, well, his thing now is
Look
he's
at him
so-
now. Like
I know that. Like, I already told him you're gonna start. Like, this is his 4th week.
Like,
Yeah.
I
So-
went in at 215 4 weeks ago, and I weighed in at. Well, I'm right around 220 usually. I weighed in at 224
So
4 weeks in.
you
I
can
put
get
on
to
9
like
pounds.
250
And
of
he's
muscle.
doing cardio twice a day.
Yeah.
And he's still putting on weight. I'm like, you're not changing your eating up too much. But I told him, I'm like, you have to be in a surplus because he needs to get a good base. Like, he needs to put
Yeah.
on some size first. And being so new to it,
The only
you
thing
might put on 10 pounds in a year of lean mass. So I'm trying to tell him, like, don't worry too. Like, you might be like looking a little chubby or whatever, but just get till summertime, then do like a smaller cut so you feel like you'll start seeing like your shoulders pop out a little bit, like so you're leaner and like feeling better throughout the summer. But don't like being so new to it. I wouldn't try to like get shredded for the summer and then try to start like keep like a good size all year so that way next winter like it's easier. Like you keep you're kind of staying in a surplus for most of the year because that's how you're gonna put on size. And the way that we're training, you're gonna put on size. And then in 2-3 years when you start cutting, you're gonna be like strong as fuck. You're gonna have good solid mass to you. Or then at 230 you cut down to 215 or 210. Then you're like, okay, I see where the work. Like now you start sculpting.
I really haven't changed any eating habits other than stop drinking soda
And
and,
you're
taking protein, and I put on 6 pounds
Yeah.
in 30 days. 6 to 9
Yeah,
pounds.
dude.
I'm like,
I'm telling you, like.
Jake's like, you're fattening up. I'm like, I know it.
It will a little bit, but
But you
protein.
want that.
it's worth it. It's worth it. Where when you start to cut down, you're like,
I just
This
hope
is
it all
why.
comes
Yeah,
back
but you
off.
want that
It
fat
will.
to build the muscle.
Yeah,
Like,
you have
if
to-
you're just like I can't build like building muscle for me is so hard because like I don't have that layer of fat to begin with.
well, you don't have the you're not eating enough calories.
Well, I understand that, but like
If
to
you
up that calorie intake,
you'd be putting on a little bit of fat, but the goal is to not.
but like if you don't have a good base to start with, to build that muscle, it's harder to like be building both at the same time because
I didn't eat like nothing a day. I maybe ate 1,000 calories all day just because I was so in my head after Pizza Ranch. I'm like, I ain't eating all day Saturday.
so like day to day, you try to stay within a certain amount or whatever. So that way, at the end of the week, you're either in a slight surplus, you're at your maintenance of what you burned throughout the whole week, and what you ate the whole week was the same number, or you're at less than, depending on what your goal is. So you got three choices. So like after a week, well then it's 2 weeks of it. Like if all of a sudden 1 week you had a shit ton of calories and the next week you starved yourself, like then your weight's gonna, like you're trying to either just slowly keep doing this or do that or slowly taper off. Like you don't want to do either one of them options fast. If you eat too much, all of a sudden like then you're putting on too much fat. You're not really you're not like maximizing the amount of muscle you could have versus the amount of fat you pack on. That's also too why it's fun, like because it's like it's a game with all that shit, like how you're eating, like how hard you're working out. Like that's why I really like it too, is because then you're pushing yourself in all different aspects, not only at the gym, but like I eat like a fucking horse right now because I'm trying to put on 15 pounds by February. Like I have to eat nonstop, and then there's times where I'm like I don't want to eat, but I'm like I have to. Or like you're like I'm gonna get a little like my biggest thing is I'm like I got to like one of the leanest points I've been in years, and now I'm putting all this weight back on. But it's like, oh, I'm gonna lose definition here. Like, but in the long run, that's where like the goal in mind of like, yeah, I am gonna get a little chubby, but I'm gonna put on good size and then try to cut it back down again. Like, otherwise, I won't be able to put on size. Like, it's a game.
I feel like I can feel that 6 to 9 pounds, so like it's like 50 pounds hanging on me right now. Like I feel like it's hard to be even.
Yeah, but once you keep doing the lifts and you're getting stronger and stronger, it just like it doesn't feel. Because at 210, like if I'm doing dips with 100 pounds, like that's where I'm like, yeah. But like all of a sudden I'm at 200, and if I'm real weak and I'm barely being able to get my like a plate on, you know, then it's just like. If you build that strength, it doesn't really matter how much you weigh because it kind of correlates to.
I think I'll be able to shred it easy because I'm a very determined individual.
Yeah, you'll be.
That's
fine.
why I'm not too worried about it.
You'll be all right. It sucks
going into the gym at 215, thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna drop down to 205, and all of a sudden I punch in at 225 a month, and it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
No, you got like just have the long like. That's why I keep telling you like, you're gonna keep putting on size like it. Eventually, you're gonna come to a point where like you look at yourself and you're like, okay, like yeah, like I'm 225, but I already feel and look bigger. Wait till you start cutting and you're 210. You're like, fuck yeah, like this is why.
I don't even care if I get up to 230, 240, as long as eventually it comes
back
around to where I'm
like,
all right, he's
dude.
solid.
That's the thing too. Like you have the build where you could get up to that, and it wouldn't look like you're like out of shape, you know, like that's why I'm telling you right now, take advantage of it because the first year or two of lifting is when you're going to put on like the best size. You might put on 20 pounds in 2 years, but all of a sudden you're walking around at a lean 220, like that's a big fucking guy.
I'm going off everything you say because I don't know shit. Just Ashley's buying me Sour Patch Kids to go to the gym. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought you were going to the gym. I'm like, Matt told me to buy these.
Dude, it's the best pump. The quick sugars,
Yeah.
especially after working all day, because you have lunch at noon. You don't have nothing until 5. Sour Patch Kids and hydraulic.
She buys me like the biggest bag you can get to it. Like,
oh, that's what I have. The freaking $5 for just a bag of them. I'm actually running low. I gotta get some more. I was gonna go grocery shopping tomorrow while Anna's gone.
Kyle seen
hate
that from
grocery
across
shopping.
the gym. He's like, you're doing the whole program, huh?
I told dude, Kyle never really takes pre-workout and stuff. He did it like 1 or 2 times and he loved it. And I'm like, combined hydraulic and some quick carbs, dude. Like you feel like you're gonna rip your t-shirt. That's the best pump.
I just feel like I can't even move hardly. Like when you tell me to freaking go lower and shit, it's like, dude, I'm so swollen right now. I can't even move my arms.
I love it. Like I just like looking like all of a sudden somebody's like, oh yeah, like or like Smet. He's always just like whatever. He gets like a pump, you know, because he's just like. It's cool seeing like his progress too.
Yeah.
Like, dude went from 260 down to 225 the other day.
He's loving it now that I'm fatter than he is. He loves it. I'll get there.
It's the goal thing. You just remember that eventually you're gonna cut.
If it's a goal,
Eventually you're gonna cut, and you're gonna be like, okay, yep, I see what you're talking about now. Because if you cut now, like you got a little bit of muscle mass, but all of a sudden like you're like you know, like you're not gonna be able to put on that strength. Like you won't be able to get as strong either because you're restricting your calories. And like right now, I just want you to just get as strong as an ox. And
that's the thing is, if I make it a goal,
it's gonna fucking happen.
Do it.
Yeah.
That's like Jake's like, you do cardio on Sunday too? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm doing my hour of cardio.
Dude.
It don't matter what fucking day it is. Like I knew tonight we'd be doing this. I'm
Yeah.
like, I ain't gonna go home and do cardio. I'm fucking doing it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm gonna do
it
another
before-
half hour.
Yeah, do it before you go. That was what, like whenever like we were gonna do this and like when 75 hard, like we'd always like make sure we pretty much did everything before we did this. The only thing was sometimes we'd have to read the 10 pages or whatever at night or a lot of times we do it right before, or like as I'm like writing notes of what we wanted to talk about, Jay would be sitting there like getting it done because he just knew like you got to do like you got I don't know you got to do it, and then after that it's like everything's a breeze. You want to grab me there's some whiskey cokes in there. I'll take a seltzer. You should have seen Grizz hunting the other day. He did pretty good. He got 11 out of 12 of the geese. And we took him out teal hunting. Did some water hunting the other day before work with Bubba. We didn't shoot too many ducks, but he got his retrieves. He was fucking itching to go out there. I made him wait for like half an hour to go get one of the birds.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was he whining?
Well, he saw it, and he's just like looking at me, like shaking his head, like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. Like, and he's just like, He did a little like excitement whines, but that's why I made him wait until he stopped completely. Where I was like, all right, you ready, buddy? And then he would go. He's like, what?
He's so well behaved.
Dude, he got a goose, like a quarter-mile retrieve.
Really?
He brought back, how far, Ben, that goose that he brought back, that was like 200 yards?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a long retrieve. Because it got like wounded and it kept on going, and then he like sailed out there. He went and got her.
I've been telling a few people how impressed I am with him already.
I think he's gonna do really good this year.
Oh, yeah. He's got her.
We just keep on. I'll probably take him out tomorrow morning and do some running. I've been working the pond right here, so there's like the water, then there's another like peninsula on the other side. So I'll do like long retrieves, and then he has to go in the water, and if he forgets where it is or like doesn't see it, he'll like if I blow my whistle, he'll sit or look. Well, he'll like pop his head out of the water, and he'll be looking at me, and then I just had to go back, and then he'll go back on the other side of the land, grab it, come back, doing like different ones like out of his blind or like up on the truck. So like if we hunt water, I can put him on like a stand or a platform so he's not in the water.
Do you like wash him every week?
No, like after he goes like in the water.
Yeah.
Most of the time, all I gotta do is like take a towel and just like I take a big towel, scrub him dry, and then I'll take a little towel and then like rub his feet and face and like underneath here.
Because
So
he never like some dogs like stink, and you smell that.
like their skin and shit.
Yeah.
Like, or their
He
hair.
never fucking or like you pet him and like then your hands kind of stink.
Mhm.
He never like has a stench to him like that.
Certain
Not
dogs,
a stench, but
right
like a
after
dog
hunting,
smell.
sometimes you will.
certain dogs with age and
Oh yeah,
they're
when
more
he
oily.
when he gets older, he probably will.
I had a Cocker Spaniel. You could rub his hair and your hand would be shiny after. It's
Yeah.
like so much oil in his hair.
Yeah, but he never like, and he's so calm all the time, just like chill.
Until you get him like, dude, he knows when he's going hunting.
I like how he sounds so mean when he comes to the door. Every time I touch the hand, like, "Rrrr," and he comes around the corner and then tails wave.
he's got a unicorn in his mouth and he's just like, oh dude, when I get home from work, he's so piped. He's like, he just rubs on you like, I haven't seen you all day.
You should have seen Pat get bit by a
Oh,
little squirrel dog this week.
A Rottweiler, dude. A Rottweiler.
We told everyone we'd tell it was a Rottweiler so he didn't sound like such a girl.
We were hanging the sheeting. Well, first of all, it was me and Pat holding it up. Pat held it for about 10 seconds. He's like, we got to get the lift. I can't hold this. Like, Ben's like, I'll hold the fucking sheet. And he just, like, grabs it. We're holding this sheet up, the 4x8 sheet. Like, we're just holding her up there so Pat can tack it up. Well, the lady must have, like, came out to check on us because we got a little rowdy, you know. And I'm holding it. Ben's right over here. Pat's right over my head, just about to fucking put the screw in. This dog comes running out onto the porch, dude. Like, runs up my bed, doesn't do nothing, runs over my Pat, right in the back of the leg. He's like, ah! He just starts yelling. Nobody says anything. A second after it bites him, the lady's like, "Did it draw blood?" Like getting all like worried. Nobody says a word. We're just sitting there like, because it was just intense right before right before this happened. So we get her tacked up. We're on like the second sheet. Kind of cools down a little bit. I'm just like, ah! I just started yelling.
Everyone breaks out laughing.
I had to break the ice a little bit. Like, we're just like, Pat just got fucking bit by this little dog. Dude, we're at this house. There's a horse. There's this like garage.
Okay.
Well, apparently this is where the horse stays, in this garage, and then it's all like pasture or whatever out there.
We get there, and this lady's like, I got this horse named Oli. And we're like, whatever. It's a horse. She's like, we're like, is it friendly? She's like, well, yeah. And there's a radio going in the garage.
He's really nosy.
All of a sudden, she's like, Oli. And he comes around the corner. This thing's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of freaking horses.
Dude, it had... You ever see them pictures of them cows that have muscles everywhere? Dude, this horse came out and it's like... Had like its shoulders...
Yeah.
It wasn't like really tall. Like it was like probably a little shorter than a normal horse. But just absolutely jacked, dude. And then... You look between his legs, he's got a 5-gallon pail hanging there. Dude, its doink was like... I describe it as a 100-pound dumbbell. We get in the truck, we're like, holy horse, dude. We get in the truck, Pat's like, did you see the cock on that? Oh, I was dying. Like, that was one of the... Like, you saw how huge the horse was, but then he turned and you're like... What is that? Like,
and it's right in her garage. Like, we walked out of sight of it where it couldn't see us, and all of a sudden the garage is like, woof, woof.
Like
the whole garage starts shaking. And I'm like, what's that? And all of a sudden the old lady's like, Oli, I'll be there in a minute. I'm like, what? This thing's going to walk off with the garage.
Yeah. Ben's like, it reminded me of the Sandlot when that dog's in the cage just... She said one time her husband unplugged the radio to plug in his boat to charge it, and the horse was just going nuts, slamming the garage. He went inside and he's like, something's wrong with Oli. He's just ramming the garage. Well, she goes out there. Well, you turned his radio off. He listens to country music all day long.
Come on.
Swear to God, dude. Swear. All day. It's like 99.5 or something. Just plays all day long.
The horse is pissed off. Unplugged my radio.
Seriously. That's what he does. He just stands in the garage and he just listens to music.
What the fuck?
He should be a stud horse, though, because that
yeah.
thing is built like nothing you've ever seen.
It's insane. Like, I asked the lady, I'm like, do you like stud him out? And he's a Clydesdale. He's a breed of a Clydesdale, but a little smaller. He's giant. How's work?
You want to get into that or what?
Yeah, dive in. I might have just changed the whole vibe of this conversation.
Oh. Yeah, so we have two options. We can mask up, get vaccinated, or you can work somewhere else.
3 options.
That's your 3 options right now. So everyone's like freaking out because they put numbers out. We got like 12% field workers vaccinated, like 20 or 25% shop employees vaccinated, and then I forget how many are in the office, maybe like 50% vaccinated, and they want 50% across the board because we're losing business right now. Like if you go into a hospital and they require vaccinated employees, we don't have the vaccinated employees. We don't have the numbers to man your job. So now they're pushing everybody to get vaccinated. And that came out Tuesday, and I was pissed. I was just like, you want 50% and you're at 12% field employees, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it by just making us wear masks. You might get up to like 30, but you're not going to get your 50. So what's next? Get vaccinated or don't work here is going to be your option.
Incentives. Aren't they paying you guys to do it?
Yeah.
So we're like paying people, or
Yeah,
you
it's
get like half
full-
a day pay, or
Yeah,
something?
you get half a day pay, and then there's like a cash incentive of like $400 or something between government and.
Why is
Ahern
there a
incentives.
marketing campaign for this?
Well,
Like,
that's what everyone's saying. Like, if it.
if it was that deadly, why would we be
Yeah.
marketing it? Like, they say that 70+% of the United States is vaccinated. My fucking ass. There's a political stunt. Like, I'm sick of that shit, dude. Like, leave it up to the individual. If you want to do it, go
Exactly.
do it. But like, why are you?
Well, my thing is like, okay, every contractor's going through this. Are we gonna have some contractors that are gonna back what the employees want? Like, okay, clearly our employees have spoken that they don't want this.
Mhm.
So either we're gonna back them or we're gonna back like getting this job and force the employees to get vaccinated.
That's when like they talk about the union power.
Well, that came out too. Is that like the contractor can't? They can force their own employees to get vaccinated, but if you're part of the union, then they can't force you to.
Yeah,
But
but
then
how
at
long?
the same time, it's just like all these contractors aren't going to get the manpower. Then they're going to go to the union, like we need to back
And
this.
then they're going to start
Then
paying the unions.
Then
They're
the
going to start
unions are going to be like,
incentivizing,
we don't like if you like you need to get vaccinated.
or you can't be in the union.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Like the government's going to start going after the unions to say, hey, get your people vaccinated, or they're going to stop giving them funding and like.
So I can see this coming. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's coming. And so my thing is like, I went up to my foreman right after that. I'm like, why are we doing this? I looked at the CDC's website. There's no mandates. The local guideline, there's no mandates. So why are we doing this? Like, I want to hear it out of somebody's mouth that what their reasoning is. Because I'm like, I'm not going to just wear a mask because you tell me to wear a mask. When there's no benefit of me wearing a mask around my chin and you're not going to say nothing, like, not going to, like, the last time nobody wore them properly and you didn't say anything, so then why are we even wearing a mask? So then my foreman's like, well, I'm with you on that. Like, we're going to have a meeting. And I'm like, well, who's running this meeting? Because I want, like, we need answers. We don't need more smoke blowing up our ass that it's above me, it's above me. We need somebody here that knows the reasoning, so when we have these questions, someone can answer them, not just, well, it's above me, my feet are held to the fire just like you guys. So he's like, yeah, we'll have some representation there. So all morning I'm fucking stewing on it, and I'm like, it's bullshit. Like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, nobody's standing up for, like, everyone has the same opinion of, like, this is bullshit, but nobody's got the balls to, like...
More than half of the people, you'd say more than half the people in there were like...
Oh, yeah. And then everybody that got the vaccine, they're like, well, I got it, but I only did it because, like, I don't want to wear a mask, or I just did it because, like, my wife got it and she was on my ass. It's like, when is somebody going to, like, stand up and be like, this is bullshit? Like, so I'm just stewing on it. Like, somebody's got to represent the other side. Like, so I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck am I going to say to this person, you know? So finally the meeting comes and they bring, like, the top dog safety guy in. And he starts off like, well, what questions do you guys have? And another guy goes, I don't see the benefit of a mask. There's no scientific reasoning. And the guy's just like, well, you know, you need to get the vaccination. And, like, I don't, like, why wouldn't you get the vaccination? Just, you know, he's pushing it right off the bat.
Yeah, right away, that was the first...
Not even answering a question, just pushing, like, the vaccination. And I'm like, oh, boy. We're in for it now. So we got the whole shop standing in front of this top safety guy and two more safety guys. One of the safety guys is like a specialization. He used to be like a cop, so he's ran like a couple active shooter lessons, like
to keep the peace.
And he looks like a big bouncer, and he's just standing in the corner. Like, I'm like, really? Like,
That dude.
this is the representation we get?
That's the thing, though. They did that. It seems like they would do that.
You
have,
bring
like,
the active shooter guy in, like, you
to
know.
have an authority,
Yeah.
or like,
So then, like,
I don't know, the Stonewall to be like,
yeah. So I made sure I was front and center. Like, we kind of sat in a U, and I sat at the corner of the U, like, so I'd be right there to these guys. Because I'm like, I went into it hot, which I shouldn't have, but, like, I went into it pissed off. And so he's not answering this guy's question, just going to push the vaccine. And then like, I spoke up right after it, and I said, well, why is Ahern pushing a mandate for all this when there's no other guidelines pushing it? Like, why are we going above and beyond what local guidelines are telling us? He's like, well, the CDC, we're just going off of what the CDC said. And all of a sudden, like, I'm like, you're not going off of the CDC's website. I just read it. It says it recommends this, and you should be doing that. And the local guidelines clearly say the exact same thing the CDC says. So why are we doing this? And he says, well, we're looking at the numbers, and what the numbers are showing us, and I'm looking at the ground, and I just go, exactly like that. Like, what numbers? Mm-hmm. You know you're going into a meeting. If you're going to tell me numbers, what are the fucking numbers?
Yeah.
Don't just tell me we're looking at numbers, and the numbers are telling us this. There's no stats behind what you're saying.
yeah.
So what is the reason then? And I just went like, just like that, and the guy lit up, dude. He's like, is this a fucking joke? What is so fucking funny? And like, I'm looking at the ground, like shaking my head, like all of a sudden I'm like, is this motherfucker talking to me right now? And I look up at him, sure shit, like from me to you away, like doing this at me. What is so fucking funny? Do you not realize that my time's just as valuable and as yours is, and I'm supposed to be up here telling you I'm answering your question, and I'm like, you're not answering my question. What's, like, answer it. And he goes, what is so fucking funny that you can just sit here and just laugh at my response? And I'm like, then I'm like laughing. And now I'm like, I'm not laughing at you. Tell me what's your answer. And this dude's like 6'5", 250 pounds, like heavier, like.
But that seems like they used it as a freaking like.
So then he yelled at me for literally at least 30 seconds to a minute of what is so fucking funny, doing this to me, from me to you away, and I'm just like looking at the ground like I'm not laughing. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I start back at this guy, that's on me. Mm-hmm. Like, I gotta keep my cool. Like, I can't get emotional about it. And like, my lips are like twitching. My eyes are just like, and I'm just looking at the ground. And from what other people told me, I just had like my fists clenched, and I'm just like standing there staring at the ground going, I'm not laughing. Like, I agree with you. Your time is very valuable. You're making more money than I am, but apparently you have no fucking answers. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, like, tell me. I'm not laughing, tell me, as I'm laughing. So now he's getting even more hot because now I'm actually laughing at him. So that, finally he cools down, doesn't answer my question, and goes on to the next question. And then this dude's like, his parents were immigrants from Poland, so he's talking about like how his dad's telling him that this is similar to like how the Nazis came into power, like, and I agree with him. Like, you can see the writing on the wall that they're just gonna keep pushing and pushing.
They're gonna use this. So the whole thing in Afghan, we're gonna get back to this. Like, the whole thing in Afghan, we're gonna say this right now because we're gonna look back on this in 3 years and be like, "Fucking told you."
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna use this as their whole political campaign, the whole way they got in here. They're going to use that till the day they leave.
Mm-hmm.
They won't even take answers on the whole Afghan thing. They don't want to talk about any of that. The first thing they go to is COVID. Yep. Always. We need this. They're just running. There's no leadership going on. They're running from all the answers. People are just sick of this shit. they're going to start tearing the country apart because eventually I think people are going to be like, no, we're tired of it. People are going to get vaccinated and stuff, but then what's the next step? I think there's so many people that are the silent majority that haven't said anything.
Well, that was my whole thing, is just like going into it. I'm just like,
what this switch is going to flip.
There's so many people that are the silent majority, and it's like what Andy says, where it's like, it's time that if you're in the silent majority, it's time to like start standing up.
It's good that you said something because.
Well, my thing is that I got so fucking pissed when he was yelling at me. I didn't say another word that whole meeting. Because I knew that, like,
you're playing emotions.
If you can't control your emotions, which I couldn't in the moment, like, I kept trying to calm myself down.
But in a way you did, because you furthered yourself from saying more.
Well, there's a lot I wanted to say, but
it would have been emotionally discharged.
But what I wanted to say was, if I could have controlled my emotions, would have been good things to say. Mm-hmm. But because I couldn't bring myself back down.
Realize that now.
Well, that's what I mean.
And now you know that there's going to be more of this.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to realize that in the moment. So when the time comes, even if you just got to go.
Yeah.
This, and then if you got to stop in the middle of it, it might feel a little awkward. Gather your thoughts, but then go again.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, dude, do that.
Because that other,
like, you know.
That dude from Poland.
It's going to come off way better if you're completely respectable about it. People saw you, like, and then you use, like, okay, this is what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like.
Because he never answered anything.
Yeah.
So then that dude from Poland, he's getting emotional, like, where he's starting to drop F-bombs left and right at this guy. And finally he goes, "You just expect us to be a bunch of sheep following the shepherd." And this dude flipped the switch and starts screaming at this dude. "If Tony Ahern tells me to get the vaccine and I'm a sheep because I go and get it," he goes, "I am not being called a sheep." And he's like pointing at the guy. And I'm like, if somebody called me a sheep, I'd probably have the same response. But at the same time, you're only freaking out because you know he's fucking right.
Yep.
You know he's right. You knew I was right. And now you're just trying to strong arm people.
That's what I was looking for. That's why they brought those big guys in there to be like.
And then I'm like, you motherfucker. Then, like, when he's yelling at him, then I was like back into it. Like, I'm about to fucking light this guy up. Like, not physically, but like.
Yeah.
I have so much shit I want to say to him. But I know that I can't, and the dude's screaming at this guy, "If I'm a fucking sheep," and I'm just like, you are though, and you know you are, and you know you are, and everybody else that got the fucking vaccine because they don't want to wear a mask or don't want to do this, even though they just go out and do it, they know that.
They're playing on their freedom.
Yeah, like, we need to fucking stand up for it, and like that's when I was
especially
like,
in the workforce environment, like.
Everybody that got the vaccine is just like, well, it should be your fucking choice. And I'm like, well, now's the time to stand up. Like, I got the vaccine, but it should also be their
The people
choice.
that did it also have, yes, you're right. They need to stand up and say, look, it's the choice. Like, I did it because I chose to, not because I had to, because they're saying, we're going to take away your income if you don't do this.
And that, I was just so lit up about it. The dude's screaming, and then like he apologized to me afterwards, and I'm still fucking hot.
You know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, next time if he does that, you tell him right out. It doesn't matter. Like, you didn't handle that situation the way it should have been done. You lashed out in front of me, trying to embarrass me in front of all these people. Like,
yeah,
you embarrassed yourself doing that. Like, what are you thinking?
Well,
that is not professional on their aspect at all.
That's what I was thinking.
They
but
came
I didn't
in there
say
just,
it. Even like
write this, dude. Write it like you're making a speech. When you go home one of these days, you know it's coming again. It's gonna happen again. You're gonna meet with You're gonna meet with everybody again, or you're gonna have to talk to them individually about it. Write down the things that you want to say, so you're like your thought process is there. So when you are talking about it, and all of a sudden you lose sight of where you were going because you're in the heat of the moment. You can think back that you bullet pointed 5 things that you know that you wanted to hit.
Yeah.
You'll even if you can remember 2 or 3 of them out of 5 or 10 that you had down, at least your case is going somewhere, and you're not just in there like playing on your emotion. Like that's what'll happen. I remember like trying to like when you make a project at school or whatever, and you had to present something. It was like if you only had 2 things, usually you'd forget the second one. But if you had 10 of them that you knew you had to talk about, as long as you hit 3 or 5 of them, it looked like you understood a lot more of like what was going on, and you weren't up there like thinking or trying to get through the thoughts. Like, that'd be really important in a conversation like that.
Yeah. And I just told him, he's like apologizing, and I'm like, I know I smirked like while you were talking, and I wasn't giving you the eye contact as you're trying to answer my question, and that is disrespectful on my part. But at the same time, like I told him, I'm like, at the same time, like that, it's not like I started screaming at you, and he's like, I know, like.
It already happened, like it.
Like
in a spot like that, in an intense environment like that, for him to lash out like that, that's not good leadership on them. Like you're supposed to be one of the faces of a multi-million-dollar company, and for you to come out and do that to like your employees, that is not professional.
And then what I was getting pissed about was he's not answering anybody's question, and then eventually it just came around to you'd ask a question, and then he'd just basically tell you, if you don't like it here, go work somewhere else. And I'm like, really? The upper management of a company is going to tell that to their employees. When you know that work, like good help is hard to find right now, you're going to go tell good help, like, if you don't like it, don't work here. Like,
I think eventually you're going to see people going on strike about it. If you get if you can get guys together to say, hey, we need to start saving your guys' income for the next couple of weeks or whatever to get you through a month or 2 of work. If they have, if you're fine, like I know you're fine, but a lot of the average person is not fine to do that. Like, tell them, like, if this is something you really believe, like, you got to put your feet on the ground. And, I mean, prepare for it. Like, it's coming. Like, in a way, I feel like we're kind of like working hard now to like save. So when it does come, where you can't do this if you don't have this, like I'm gonna try to weather that storm as long as I can. Like I want it to be the choice of the individual. If you do it, more power to you. Like if that is your choice, go ahead, do it. But if like when the government's coming in saying you need to do this, you have to do that. Fuck that. Like that's not how that is. That is not how this country's ran.
So the next morning, my shop manager came up to me and like he apologized not only personally but also on the behalf of the company. He's like, first and foremost, like personally, like I'm sorry that had to happen. Like I brought him in. I should have done this, this, and this. Like not only to
stand up at the time,
but to get him in the mindset that there's going to be questions, not just how do I put my mask on types questions.
Yeah.
Like. He's like, I should have gotten him.
People have strong beliefs behind it.
That he's getting into, like, he's going to get cornered. And also, like, in the heat of the moment that nothing happened. And then I'm like, well, here's the thing. And so then I laid out, like, I said, I respect that when I walk in these doors, this is not my property. That if Ahern wants me to do X, Y, and Z, I'll respect it. But at the same time, I said, this is not a hospital floor that we all collectively signed upon that Ahern is in charge of our medical benefits of what we do. Like, this isn't a hospital. So if I told him, I said, if they're going to come out and mandate a vaccine, you might as well just walk me out now and let me go start somewhere else because I'm not doing it. And I looked him right in the eyes and I said, you can't tell me that looking at their numbers right now, they'll ever get 50% just by trying to strong-arm us to wear a mask. You're not going to get those numbers.
They're going to find other ways.
You'd have to get like another 300 to 400 field employees vaccinated.
Dude, but that's the thing.
You're not going to get it.
They're threatening your income and insurance, and the average person is not financially in a good spot.
Well, that's it. And I told them, I said,
that's why they're
not going to get it.
That's why they're playing that card.
And I said, you can't tell me right now that you can't see the writing on the wall that once they don't get their numbers, what's next? Everybody's got to be vaccinated to work here.
Or you ain't getting a check.
And I said, if
They fucked up.
it's not going to
They
happen.
made it so political and are marketing it as such a major campaign. They fucked that. They fucked it up. When you make it political like that, you're just separating one side versus the other. Like, it wasn't a betterment of the country, a health thing. Like,
Well, that's
it
I
was
told him the same. I
political.
told him that too. I said,
it is.
I said
political.
if it was about the virus, like they claim right now it is, why is Aher not giving incentives to go use their gym? Why is there no incentives to be healthy? Like some sort of like how Axe and Sledge does like their transformation challenge,
Yep.
or like Andy he said he just talked about it how he gives $1,000 out if you can out transform him. Like if you after the certain amount of time
That's the thing
are
too.
better than Andy, then he'll give you $1,000. Why is Aher not doing something like that? If it's about health and it's
program.
about safety, you guys
It ain't about that.
You guys
That's the
just
thing.
came in and tried blowing smoke about how you care so much about our health. Why is there no health incentive? I go to the gym every day after work, and there's one motherfucker in there besides me.
Yep. That's also like, have you know? So like one thing that I really don't like is in healthcare, how many nurses have you had that come up to you that are completely out of shape, like, or doctors that are just, you're like, how
Yeah.
did you let yourself get like that? And they're there telling you, you need to do this, you need no, like
Yeah.
what? How can you be sitting there telling people that they need to go to the gym, exercise, walk for 20 minutes a day, when you ain't even fucking doing it yourself? Like, I think that's a huge problem that we have in this. We've been for years, like, we are known as obese. Over 50% of the population's obese. What happened, dude? Companies, so many companies make money off of the fact that Americans are in shit health.
Mm-hmm.
Healthcare, pharmaceuticals, like, that's all they push. Like, if you look at the TV on like a general TV program, you're gonna find at least one commercial that talks about take this medication for your cholesterol, or you're overweight, you can get surgery for this. Like, I just saw a thing today, over $6 billion in pharmaceutical advertisements last year. Where the fuck do people... I asked Carly this, like, she's a nurse or whatever. I'm like, why don't they ever push, like, go to the gym, take care of yourself, eat healthy, like, well, that changes people's lifestyles. We do that, then they freak out on you. I'm not doing, like, who gives a fuck? Like, that's what it needs to come down. Like, that's how you have to be healthy. Like, but there's so much money in medical care in hospitals that's what they're, tell them to do this. They're going to come back, give them a pill for that. We're going to make money off that. Like, it's a business. Everything's a fucking business. And people are just so undereducated and fucking lazy to push themselves and take care of themselves. We run into so many people that can barely get off the fucking couch,
Yeah.
dude. We see so many people when we go out to eat, and it's like, how do you let yourself get like that? And then you get people that are in their 80s, so that they haven't done any physical activity for 20, 40 years. Like, they don't take care of themselves. They don't eat good. Like, and then they get this. Yeah, they're gonna get fucking sick and probably die from it. Like, I think the biggest thing is people over the age of like 75 are the ones that are freaking dying from it. Like, let's look at those. I can't wait for years to come where we actually see some numbers and research on this. We probably never get real numbers because there's so many people that, oh, you had cancer, but you had COVID, oh, dead, oh, count COVID, yep, COVID death. Like,
I stopped going for physicals and shit years ago because you got a 350-pound woman come in and see you at 220, throw you on the scale and say, oh, you're obese, you need to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like, and how much do you need to lose?
no
170?
shit, dude.
Well, I was just talking to my dad about that. When you watch
I
like
get fired up on that shit.
you watch like the NFL, like their head coaches, like half of them are like fat, dude. And I'm like, I asked my dad, I'm like, how do any of these dudes listen to this guy? Like, how can you tell me to go like condition after practice or something, and you look like you just ate 7 cheeseburgers before the game? Like,
Trainers in high school, nutritionist.
yeah,
How in the fuck? Like, how do you even have a job? There should be standards to have these jobs. Like, but then again, we have so many lazy people, we can't even fill the jobs that we have. And then what do? You take fucking pieces of shit. Like,
we just did a roof for a guy, and I'm like, look at the size of this guy. My dad's like, yeah, he's the football coach for wherever. I'm
yeah.
like, are you? That's the football coach?
No, I can't. That stuff bothers me so much. Like, I get, like, there are times where shit happens where you're not in the best shape that you should be in. Like, things happen in life
There's
where,
a
like,
difference between, like,
put in-
you're a little, like, you could
Yes.
lose a couple, but you can
yes,
tell, like,
yes, yep.
But there's some motherfuckers that are getting wheeled around Walmart in a cart, and you're just
Yep.
like, that is like 30 years of you not even
giving a fuck about
Yeah.
yourself. Yep. I don't think people realize when you start to have a sense of care for yourself and your own well-being, and just having the ego to, like, be self-driven and fulfilled, like, by doing things yourself. There's just a lack of that where people just don't give a shit. So then they just goes. It's such a slippery slope where all of a sudden you just stopped caring. Well then, but if they actually felt how good they would feel, how much more they would be able to do in life or get done. Like, we were talking, like, for 30 years, older people would just sit in the recliner. That's what they'd get up, make breakfast, sit in the recliner, sleep. Like, that's what they would do for years and years. You have one shot at freaking living here. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Why?
I don't get it. Like, I get depressed or anything like any other person, but I'm 10 pounds. I get 10 pounds overweight, and I look at myself. I'm like, it's time to fucking do something different.
Yeah.
How do you get 100, 200
I think half of it
pounds
too is
overweight before you're
Dude,
like,
we saw a guy at Subway the other day. I don't know how the fucker could walk. How do you just... And
Yeah.
you could tell, one, besides just looking at, like, their body weight, look at the kind of clothes they're wearing, like, look at their skin, like, their facial expressions. You can just tell these are people that they just give up on themselves.
Yeah.
Well, then they give up on life. They would rather just be gone. But all it takes is just a little bit to just push yourself to just see a little bit of result and just keep slowly going. Like, once... it just seems so easy,
and
like, because that's how my mind works. Like,
the worst part is you're probably seeing him at the happiest point of his day right there.
yeah, when he gets...
like-
But I think then half of them get on them like antidepressant, anti-anxiety pills, so it kills that whole like shame part of it.
Yeah.
Because like half of that, when you feel the shame, it's like, well, I'm depressed about like
You need to do
or like anxious about this, like how I'm looking right now.
You
Well, now
run.
I'm taking
They're
now I'm taking a pill to kill that emotion. It's like, well, that emotion should be there.
Yeah, pharmaceuticals, though. They prey on that
I
stuff.
know,
dude.
but-
They fucking prey on it. That's where we've gone so wrong as a healthcare. So in one of my public health classes, the teacher described it as, America doesn't have a healthcare system, we have a sick care system.
Yeah.
We put you in that spot where all of a sudden, oh, it's a pill for this, pill for that. And we just tell you, keep taking pills, keep taking medication. Not, here, let's take a look at your lifestyle. And
Yeah.
this is the shit you need to change. I gotta piss.
So it's really a greed issue.
It is. It's money, dude. It's money.
It's a greed issue with everybody, really. I mean, every decision that's made is based off of like where I'm gonna make a dollar, not what's right or wrong. Like, yeah, I get fired up about that kind of stuff, but
I feel bad looking at people like that, just seeing the potential that they could have performed
Yeah.
in their life, and
they don't see it in themselves. Like,
I look at that every day in myself, like, how much can I do today
Yeah.
to provide to the world? And then you sit at lunch or you go to a buffet, you watch all these people walk in, and you're like, you wasted so much time and you don't even know it.
right. Yeah, they don't see it in themselves, and that's like half the reason that I get fired up about it, is because you know that, like, if they saw that in themselves and knew the potential that they had, or even seen a glimpse of it, it wouldn't be a problem. But I think that like half of them either just don't care, they've given up so far that they don't even realize one grain of sand in a bucket, like, the potential that they could
But
possibly have
how-
because they're so.
How many of these people? But I think a lot of it, you got to look at like the people that they surround themselves with too. Like, don't worry about it. Like, like if everyone else is just soft, then it's so easy for that person
Yeah,
to
with
think
the
that
whole-
it's okay. That you talk about like how we as a country, like we praise that mediocrity. Like, just you don't have to push yourself. Don't like if those people are surrounded by people that just like are doing the same thing they are. They're in that comfort zone of like, oh, like this person did it. I can do this, or like, no, they don't. They see people that are pushing themselves and are so successful. They're like, how did you, or like are so fit or whatever. Like, how did you do that? Or like, I couldn't do that. That person's just abnormal. Like,
Right.
they think it's abnormal because they're surrounded by people that just haven't done shit.
Andy talks about that all the time where he's like, I always thought that like success was like something you're born with, or like discipline is something you're born with, and it's just like, well, I don't have that. It's like once you realize that it's not something that like a magic
It's a
fairy
trait you
comes
can
to
develop.
give you. It's something that
It's
is just
developed.
like any other skill. If you want to be a good baseball player, that people in the MLB aren't just naturally gifted great at baseball. They work every day, put in the effort to
Jake,
become
you
great.
used to- I've been pushing that too.
What? Yeah, what are you doing? Well, we're in the middle of a podcast right now. I'm sure we could get a fourth individual. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, can you hear him?
Yeah.
All right, I'm on my way. All right. We're just talking about you. All right, we'll see you soon. No, I got you. It's in the fridge. I got the Stone Colds. All right, see ya.
I've been pushing that too, though, with my wife. I'm like, surround yourself, your 5 closest friends. At first, I was pushing her, your 5 closest friends are what push you. And she's like, I ain't changing my friend group. I'm like,
You have to.
well, then, if you're not going to change your friend group, you got to push your friends to be better, and you be the fucking
You gotta
leader
be the
of that
change, yep.
group.
But if you see that they're not buying in, it's like you still have to have that
And
mindset.
That's the
of
thing,
like,
though. Like, there's people that we're hanging out with now that I never would have thought would buy in. But the
Right.
more and consistent you are, and you show them what it's doing for you, your
Mhm.
friends, the people that are following, the light bulb will go on.
Right.
And that's why it takes a little bit of leadership.
It's
So-
not always your friend. Even your baseball coaches and Little League and shit would preach you, be a leader. When you go to the mound, be a leader. If you want to be a pitcher, be a leader. And
Yeah, but it's
sometimes-
also hard. Like iron sharpens iron. Like if you're the only one,
Yeah, but
you
sometimes,
still need like somebody there to
but like that, he could be the iron,
Yeah.
like, iron to her. Like
Right.
that's why like relationships too. Like if there's nobody strong in the relationship is likely just garbage, or just not going to work, or it just won't have a spark to it. It's just it's just blah,
Mhm.
right? Like so for him to be that iron, sharpen her. All
Yep.
it takes is a light switch, and one of those girls to just be like,
That's the only
look
way,
what they're doing.
that's the
I
only
can
way
do
it's
that.
going to get better.
Yep.
Is for me to push her,
Yep.
her to push her friends to push her friends. If you don't keep doing that, the whole world's going to become
Right.
350-pound people
Yeah,
that don't want
lazy
to do
as
anything.
fuck, don't care. Dude, I say it all the time, almost every episode. Like, that is the point of this. Like, one person at a time. And like, the more and more we do it, I hate when we fucking miss, because you know that there's always somebody that you're connecting with. They're sharing it. They're changing something. Like, there's so many people that listen to it. Like, there's not a ton of people that listen to this, but at least 50 people that listen to this that are slowly changing themselves, and eventually you're going to have a little bit of perseverance for themselves to push somebody else to do it, and then it's just going to snowball. Like Seth and those guys, it took them a year before all of a sudden. Now look at dude, they were like a couple people would watch it. There's so many people. Like you look at the fucking hat and shirt Ben has on.
Yeah.
Like look at the shirt I have on. Like
yeah.
your hat, like dude, like that's what I'm saying. Like we can do the same thing for people, and like him doing that for her is her reaching out and doing it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden it doesn't work, but maybe two people connect and they follow on, they jump on that train.
Even if
then
you
they
don't
run
jump
into
on
somebody
the train,
else.
but even if it just puts that thought in your mind of just like,
I can do better.
I can be doing so much more, and even if it's just like, just planting that seed so that you start recognizing that bitch voice in yourself.
Dude, I wish Jake was here right now because I know so many times he would be like, I want to be like Ben. Like he just sees like Ben had like when he does something, it's a drive to do it good, get it done. Like move on next. Like what's next? What's next?
You can see it in Ashley though now. Even when she wakes up in the morning, she's like, "Did you go hunting?" "No, I was doing cardio." And I'm mopping the floor or something. She's like, she just smiles like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
dude, just keep planting it though. It's just a seed.
Then she like takes a pill. She's like, "It didn't really do nothing for me today." I'm like, "Well, just keep doing it.
Keep
like,
trying. Just
keep
like
trying. Like
walk. Like eventually
she sees it.
Yeah.
She sees the change. She's like, "I gotta try this. Like
Just
some spark in here."
I just noticed in the first week of it, like when you come to work, it's just like I can tell if you're up early getting shit done because it's just a whole different vibe. You probably see the same, like when I'm
damn near late to work now. Like I used to get to the shop a half hour early, but I don't even want to waste a half hour. It's like I got so much shit I can do at home right now. Like,
it still is my favorite. Like when you get there and like, you know everybody else is up doing shit too. You're like, all right, let's go. And then you can kill like a hard day of shit, and you're done, and you're like, I don't know, the last 2-3 weeks, well, probably like 4 weeks. That's why we haven't really got a podcast. Like every day, it's all
goals.
Go.
All I can say is start with goals. Start every day.
We got it. We're gonna. We could make this into 2. I think that's what we'll do. As soon as Jake gets here, we'll start a new one, and then we'll go from there. I think that'll be very goal-oriented conversation.
Anyone that's listening and is wondering what to do, start every day with a goal.
You win the day.
Something that's achievable.
There you go.
Something that you can achieve.
Something like Andy talks about that too. It's like every day you're not setting a goal of like, I'm going to become financially free. Well, that's not going to happen in a day.
Yep.
Your winning the day starts with like, I'm cleaning the toilets today, or I'm going to go mow the lawn today, plus do this, and this that are 100% achievable.
Shit that should have been done a week ago, and then you just...
Yep.
And you start catching up on it, and then you get into like they say like making your bed. If you make your bed, it just puts you in a productive state of mind. I think it's because so many people just don't do it. And all of a sudden they do it and they feel accomplished, and they're like, I can do this. And another thing. Like whatever the goal is, like Ben was saying, just have a goal. It does not matter what anybody else has to say about your goal. Like it might seem fucking ridiculous to them. Like mine, I tell you right, I will have a GTR. Like I will drive that would be my shit. Like I want a car. Everyone's like, why don't you buy a car? Like I don't need it now. Now's not the time. But I know that's like you've talked to people like you think he's gonna get a GTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fucking determined that I will have that. Like I've thought of that for the last 8 years. Like I know it's gonna happen. Could I go get one? Yeah. Would that be fucking stupid because that would set me back from different goals that I have? Yeah, but it's because I have the different goals in mind where it's like when the time's right, it'll happen. Yeah. Whatever your goal is, like if it's like buy a vehicle, pay your house off, buy a house, fucking buy a house, stop renting, like whatever it is, like lose 5 pounds, like you have to have something. Like, and then when you have that goal in mind, you need to dissect it into multiple steps. If it's lose 10 pounds, you're not just going to lose 10 pounds because you said, I have a goal of losing 10 pounds. No.
It's not going to happen in a day.
Sign up for the gym. Yeah, set a date for like when you want to accomplish it.
If you want to lose 50 pounds, it's not like, today I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Well, it's like, today I'm going to go to the gym, and that's on my list to win the day. Go to the gym. Now tomorrow, that go to the gym is going to be fucking on there, and unless I check it off, I didn't win the day. and you keep dissecting these long-term goals into like a
Steps, baby steps.
step.
Small
And that's
into
how
small
you-
goals, and then every day.
Yep, you compound
Every
all
day.
them small wins.
It was funny starting at the gym 30 days ago. I mean, I ain't no big gym junkie, but talking to a few friends, I'm like, I don't know, in 10 years maybe I'll have my own fucking gym and I'll have all... It might even just be a garage gym for my buddies, and they're like, you're fucking nuts, that's $100,000. I'm like, and it's $100,000, let's fucking do it.
That's my goal. Like, I don't give a shit.
That's one of them goals. It's a long term, but it's like, fuck it, if I like this is what I'm gonna fucking do. I'm gonna own a fucking gym someday.
Dude, it just seems so crazy to me because so many people just don't do it, and then they're like, why the fuck would you do that? Or like, why are you doing that? But then we've said that from like day one. You wait 5 years down the road when everyone's like, how'd you do this? That's not me being arrogant. It's just studying people that do it and have done it and are successful with it. And the blueprints are there.
Well,
you just got to have the determination and the drive to do it. The discipline.
I just hope someday when they say that we can say, oh, go back and listen to it.
I do.
Yeah.
Go back and listen.
I can't. No. Not I hope. No, I not hope. Someday, we're recording our groundwork right now, and you're gonna be like, those idiots. Like, you just wait. Like, I could say that every day. I believe in myself and my friends so much that.
Well, that's why, like,
fucking wait.
when you said it's not me being arrogant, it's like that's you being confident that you've set the groundwork in place already, that you know that it's there. Because if you were arrogant about it, I'd be sitting here thinking like, all right, that's great that it's gonna happen, but what have you done so far that's gonna make me believe it? Now sitting here, you saying that, it's like, yeah, you're right. That's a very confident thing to say, but it's not arrogance because I've seen past how many years of you working your ass off. Like, unless you just stop doing what you're doing, you're gonna have, which then you'd have like how many people on your ass like, what the fuck are you doing right now?
That's what I love.
But,
like, confidence drives me. Like,
yeah,
being confident. I relate everything back to baseball, but I have coaches that are like, when you're in the batter's box, confidence. You're dreaming of hitting that ball over the fence. When you go to the plate, you're not imagining striking out. You're imagining you're hitting a double. You're hitting.
But you can do that because you know you've put in the work leading up to me standing in that batter's box.
So like
in
in practice, you're thinking of that. You're thinking of those 3-pitch innings where like, all right, like I've done this. Like I'm gonna do this. Like Conor McGregor. That we talk about him like. He'll sit there and he'll tell you, I'm going to knock him out in the first round. Like, he'll tell you, like, because he just visualized it. He puts the work in, working on that specific move or whatever. Like, so when the time comes, it's game time. Like, there it is. Like,
that's like when Jake gets into a situation at the bar. He's like, how do you get me out of that? I'm like, it's confidence. When I go in there and I see this guy fucking wanting to pick a fight, I just walk up to like, hey, motherfucker, you're gonna beat up my fucking friend tonight.
Yeah, ain't happening.
And 99% of people are gonna be like, even me, when people show confidence, when they come up to me like, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'm like, oh boy, this guy, he might have it.
Yeah, just because they're like, look.
Just because they're confident. Confidence is everything.
You pick up subconsciously confidence over arrogance because you know a lot of arrogant people that could go up to you and say that, but you know that if they're just spewing you a line of shit, like you're all talk and no show, but when you're confident, you know that you've put the groundwork in place for you to say these statements, and then you're like, okay, like.
Dude, the one thing that I also love is like, I can't be arrogant about this stuff because, like you said, if I just stop doing stuff, somebody's going to call you out on it, and it's going to be one of your actual friends. It's not somebody that is just, oh, you don't do shit, because there's people that are like, oh, yeah, what the fuck have you done? But I'm looking at them like, you don't even know the shit that I, like, 12 to 16 hours a day, the shit that I will continuously do while nobody's watching, just because, like, I'm so driven to get to there, and the fact that you're telling me, oh, you ain't going to do this or you don't do that, the next fucking day, next month, I'm going to take that and be like, every time, be like, yeah, you just fucking wait. You just wait.
That's why
Yeah,
I
that
send
drives
out,
you, dude.
I
When
send out
You
Snap.
know when I laughed that
when people
Ooh.
when people tell you like laugh at you about like you ain't gonna do it or like kind of knock on your confidence or like knock on your goals, then it just drives you, dude. Like you motherfucker,
the
just lit a
worst is when
switch.
the people that tell you that don't have shit or haven't done shit. I'm even like tenfold. Like you got me there. Like boom. Like let's go.
There he is.
That's like even when I'm on the treadmill, I'm still sending snaps to all my close buddies, just like,
Do
so
it.
you know I'm doing this.
Yeah,
right now, just so you know.
Yep. I'll do that too. And then it gets the
I
other.
don't even care if you care, but I'm sending
It
it
gets-
just so you know.
It gets the other person to be like, I gotta push myself
Yeah.
more. I gotta do more. All right. Well,
Close this one out.
Yeah.
And we'll record a new one.
we're gonna start another one. This should be at least 2+ hours of good, solid
Oh, yeah.
content.
Yeah.
All we ask you guys, like if you're on YouTube or whatever, like it, subscribe to our channel. We're almost at the numbers that we'd like to consistently see. So, share it with a buddy. Spotify, Apple, Podcast, and YouTube are top ones. Follow our Instagram. Don't want to hear. If you're listening or whatever, share it to your story. Just all we ask is if you
Tag
are,
us in it.
yeah, if you
let
are
us
listening,
know.
just let us know that you're listening. Give us some feedback and continue to share it and continue to listen. We hope that we offer you guys some solid content and you can take it and run with it and keep on pushing yourselves.